Ex-BBC boss claims the broadcaster has succumbed to progressive madness. Hey, hello everybody. Yes, it's us at Who's Views. It's your big show, it's headlines. And Sunday wouldn't be Sunday without your big show headlines, would it, Third Doctor Ian?
It would not be. It's a staple part of Sundays, just like other Sunday stuff. Sunday dinners, Sunday roast dinners. It's as staple as that. Yeah.
Good to see you all, everybody. Thanks for joining us. It's Third Doctor Ian and myself this evening because Paul has to go off doing work. Outrageous behaviour.
Commitment again. I've got serious concerns. I'd check his contract if I were you.
Oh, bless him. God love him. Hopefully he might be able to get to see us throughout the show. But hello to everybody. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you. We do have an awful lot to pack in. There's a hell of a lot of you in the chat already, which is fantastic. It's great to see you. So I can't go through saying hello to you all, but hello to you all. Good to see you. And we will get to you as we get into our subjects, because have you heard? Yes, Ncuti Gatwa has gone from one flop on a Saturday night to another flop on a Saturday night. That's all coming up for you. The BBC are in trans trouble. That's not a dance group from the 1970s, by the way. And the AM streaming and fans overreaction. And also that big story that has broken today about how DEI especially has contributed to the fall of the BBC. Lots of great stories for you. Lovely to see you. Give us a like, why don't you? And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you're not new to the channel, please make sure you are still subscribed. Oh, I've got lots to talk about on that this week. Oh, the tube of who. Listen, we're going to start, though, Third Doctor Ian, with some sad news. Because on Friday, we heard, didn't we, Who Viewers? We heard the sad news that, unfortunately, Jill Curson has passed. Now, of course, Jill Curson was famous to all of us as Doctor Who for being the niece of Doctor Who, played by the legend that is Peter Cushing, in, of course, the second Dalek film, Dalek's Invasion of the Earth, 2150 AD, back in 1966. But, you know, to a lot of us, as we've discussed when we reviewed our Dalek film, she's still part of the whole mythology of Doctor Who. I mean, why not? I mean, if you can have Jodie Ncuti Gatwa and the other one, whose name I can never remember.
Nobody wants to either, don't worry.
Yeah, the one with the, anyway, I can't remember her name.
Bill Martin.
Thank you. I can never remember her name. But anyway, if they can all be included, why can't we also favour people like Jill Curson? So this was really sad news, Who viewers. I never got to meet her, unfortunately. I would have loved to have met Jill Curson. I'm sure she had a few tales. I'm sure it'd have been,
I didn't either, but I'm sure it would have been a fab experience. I mean, she, like you say, she just had that one film excursion as Louise in that fantastic Sherlock Holmes rift outfit in that film. But, you know, she had an impact. You know, when she was there, her light shone really brightly, and it lasted right through to now. And she was great. She was great. She was a great character. I mean, it was a bit of a jolt, wasn't it, when you first saw Dalek Invasion of Earth, because you wondered where Roy Castle was and Jenny Linden. You know, they weren't there. What the hell's going on? But Louise was just boomf. That character was straight in there. It's such a shame. Such a shame.
It's wonderful, though, isn't it, in a sense, in that over recent years, Doctor Who fans and the Doctor Who fandom had embraced Jenny Linden and also Jill and Miss Tovey and everybody who were associated with the films. You know, in recent times, they actually got to be part of the fandom. They got to be appreciated. They got to meet many, many lucky fans, and I think that's lovely, isn't it? I mean, it was well overdue, but I'm glad it got there. Yeah. It actually got there.
I think there was talk, wasn't there? Didn't Moffat say at one point in the Black Archive at the 50th they were going to have a picture of Cushing's Doctor as well, and he thought it'd be a step too far, so they didn't. And then when you consider the absolute batshit steps that it took shortly after that, you'd think, no, actually, it would have made more sense than any of the crap that followed, to be fair. I wouldn't have had a problem. I think it'd have been fantastic. It'd raised so many questions, but there we are.
It's absolutely true. He did reinstate the scenes in to that awful Target novel he wrote of Day of the Doctor, I have to say. And I have to say that I'm not a fan of the modern reboot ones. I bought Rose, which was terrible. I bought the Day of the Doctor one, which was awful, and I never finished it because I just thought, no. Because it was going into that whole thing, oh, look at us, aren't we clever? But I never got it. Hey, Digby, thank you all for your chats. But Digby, thank you for your super chat. Give me the Dalek movies over the last 9 years of odd Doctor Who, R.I.P. Jill Curson. A lot of you, as I've just been showing on screen there, thank you for that, Diggs. Saying and giving you your best wishes around this, if that's the word, to the loss of Jill Curson. During Jack Rabbit saying to us, the Dalek is definitely the reason I chose that poster. Yeah, I mean it's sad news. And I've got the details for you here now. Apparently, she actually passed in April, and her family, as is their right, decided to let everybody know the other night there. She was 87 years old, but her film roles included a nurse in 80,000 Suspects, Catherine Banks in Dr. Sin, alias the Scarecrow, obviously Doctor Who and the Daleks, and June in Smokescreen. She also did television, including The Champions, Adam Ant Lives, The Saint, Hugh and I, and Disneyland in 1963. She had, of course, her autobiography by Candy Jar Books, if I remember correctly, was published in 2023. And that should still be around now if anybody wants to catch up with that.
I think Adam Adamant Lives was a Verity Lambert show, I think. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty certain it was.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Lots of love coming in for Jill, as we expect, of course. Yeah, part of the Doctor Who family and always will be. So this is it's lovely to see.
I think that's one of the things, isn't it? No disrespect to any of the other, Adam Adamant Lives was a huge show in its time. But it's the fact that she's in that extended Doctor Who family that has guaranteed that 20, 30, 40 years from now, people will still remember Jill Curzon, and quite rightly so.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of that film as well in this day and age is it's on everywhere at every time. Yeah. I mean, the amount of times I tune in and the Dalek films are on a particular, no particular channel at all. It's just around. And I'm always engrossed. I'm always like, I'll just watch this then.
Yeah, you can't turn it off, can you? It's just like, give it 5 minutes and then an hour later you've watched the whole
You're
film.
Still there. Yeah. Mark Greaves, thank you for your super chat. Hi guys, hope you're both great. JT, the reason you can't remember her name is your subconsciousness trying to protect your sanity. You're very right, Mark. It's because I haven't invested in that era. I'd never recognized that era. I don't want anything to do with that era. And that's why I can't. And also because she's not the Doctor. Let's face it. She's not the Doctor. And I don't care what you call me because of that. She isn't. And neither is Whittaker and neither is Gatwa. More on Gatwa coming up in the show. Julianne is saying to us, hello. Late to the chat. Sorry, R.I.P. the brilliant Jill Curson. I love the Dalek movies. Absolutely. Hi, Sheila B. Nice to see you as well. But Stephen Braddock saying, yes, it's a sad double week of losses as we also lost the wonderful David Burke, also known as Dr. John Watson from the Sherlock Holmes TV show. Yes, we certainly did, didn't we? So, yeah, we're at that point, as we've said before on the show. But as ever, goodness me, Jill Curson. To Jill's family and friends from all of us here, including everybody in the chat, all the subscribers to Who's Views, we send you our love and our thoughts and our prayers. And to Jill, safe journey.
Yeah.
You're watching Who's Views. It's Headlines. It's your big Sunday show. Hello, everybody. It's good to see you. We're going to move on now. And I've got an update for you, Third Doctor Ian, as well as to everybody in the chat. Okay. And I asked for this. Got a couple of updates, actually. The first one, I want to give a big shout out to Eddie, who I think is in the chat. I'm not sure, but if you're in the chat, Eddie, hiya. Now, on Friday, Eddie joined me for Chit Chat on Friday. And I want to say, listen, thank you, everybody, for all the fantastic comments about this big series of Chit Chat that we've been doing. It's been really successful, and you all seem to have loved it. So thank you very much. It's been great for me to meet everybody and to chat with you and just have a little bit of a banter. If you want to do a Chit Chat, you can, of course. You can get in touch with me at whosviews1@gmail.com. So thank you for that. But what have we got? Yes, so what was the thing? Yeah, so Eddie joined me, Ian, for Friday's Chit Chat, and we had a good chat.
Good chit chat. I was watching it yesterday.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Mm.
But Eddie also showed us where he's up to with his Dalek build. You know, because he's building this big kit Dalek, isn't he? Did you see that?
Very skilled.
Yeah, well, I couldn't do it. And it's a lot
I
bigger
wouldn't
than
have the patience. I've tried and never finished stuff. I just don't, you know, sausage fingers. I can't fiddle it. Yeah.
Same with me. It's like I said to Philip Siegel, I can't do the model kits because I'm a big sausage fingers. That's never going to happen. But so Eddie showed us where he's up to with his big Dalek. But this thing it's a big thing, by the way. Anyway, I said to him, because he mentioned he was nearly at the part of inserting the Dalek mutant. I said, "Ooh, I want to see what it's like." And so he sent us a picture.
Oh, look at that.
Isn't that gross, everyone?
That is fantastic.
So
that is very, very close to those original design drawings of the Dalek mutant. If you remember from the early years book and everything, the Ray Cusick interior, it's more akin to that than even the 2005 interior. To be honest, that's fantastic.
There's Eddie there joining us. Who knows 63? Hi, mate. Thank you for sending this update.
Yeah.
Thank you for sending it. Dom goes asking me, can you chit chat with RTD? Oh, I'd love to. We'd be doing it live on this show. I tell you, we'd be live, so you could all have a say. I would love to do that. But that was the update from Eddie on his Dalek there. The Colored Mutant looks absolutely vile. But there you go. I suppose that's how it should be, isn't it, in the Dalek?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, as Margie's saying, Margie 75 is saying, "Oh my God, it's yucky but brilliant." Hello to Sydney Rough Diamond. How are you, sir? Nice to see you. I've got another update though for you all, everybody, as well. And a wee while ago, you'll remember that we were actually the Nate channel sent us some pictures of the console room he was building. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And it was this lovely thing. It was a mix, everybody, if you remember from a few shows back. It was a mix of the Capaldi console with the 80s console room surrounds, the walls and everything like that. And I've asked Nate to keep us up to date. Now, Paul, who's not with us this evening, Paul asked if he could have a picture of the Capaldi action figure on the TARDIS set that Nate's building so he could see how big it is. So when Paul gets to play this back, because I've got the pictures and here they are.
Oh, wow.
Look at this, everybody. This is stunning. Now, obviously, he's added bits to the walls and stuff. Now we can see some hexagons going in the top of this.
Yeah.
I love the fact that that door has rondels in it as well, leading off to this.
Yeah.
But you can see the scale. So that is a Character Options Capaldi action figure.
Look at that.
Isn't it fab?
It really is.
I've told him several times Ian, that if he wants to send it to me, he can at Whose Views.
And you'd take very good care of it, wouldn't you?
Oh, I'd love it to bits. Isn't it gorgeous, Who Viewers? I mean, it's just great. Now, also, as you'll all know out there, this month, May 2026, we are celebrating 30 years of the 8th Doctor with a load of special shows around about the Paul McGann Doctor. And to celebrate that, he's even sent us a picture of the 7th Doctor on the set.
Oh.
And I love the way, Ian, that he's built how I believe the doors should be. The interior TARDIS doors, not directly onto the console room, but just that little bit off with that black void bit that we're also used to.
Yeah, definitely.
I like that. He's put
I think the roundel walls, though, really add to it because they really do take you back, don't you, to the classic series. But they also fit that design perfectly. I
actually say, Who Viewers, that this design is much better than what was on screen in the Gatwa era. I think it's lovely.
That was done large because they could, rather than because they should, or the fact that it would have looked good, because it didn't. It just looked cavernous and empty and dull. Whereas that's amazing. That.
Yeah. Nate, when you join us, there is a lot of appreciation for this in the chat with you, which is wonderful. Sheila B in the devotions also saying it's excellent there. Oh, and we've got some super chats. Mark Greaves again, thank you. JT, if you did chit chat with RTD, the famous question would be changed to what the F were you thinking? Along with why are you hitting yourself? Oh, there would be lots of questions I would give to that man, honestly. And it would be a live show and you would all love it, wouldn't you? Because you'd all be there as well. It would be fabulous. And here's one here from Funky. Thank you for your super chat. In honor of the absent Paul, here's the obligatory mention of Dimensions in Time, which is canon. For crying.
Oh dear. And here's the obligatory. No, it's not.
I just thought tonight we might get away with it. So thanks for that, Funky. Keep it together, JT. You've got a whole show to get through. Keep it together. Don't think about Dimensions in Time. I was there, you know. Didn't like the look of it then either. But yeah, listen again to Nate. Thank you for that. Absolutely, thank you. Absolutely gorgeous. Matt Enspiel's with us. Ian saying the Gatwa TARDIS interior reminded me of a soft play area. Yeah, but as we've said many, many times, it was far too big. It was too big, wasn't it? And as Paul has said before, because it was all white or off-white, which is a tribute to the original, which I appreciate, it didn't look great, though, because it was too big. And we're very fussy, Ian, as TARDIS.
If it was a soft play area, I think the general IQ of the inhabitants would have been a lot higher than what we saw on screen.
Oh, I doubt it. We've also got Julianne saying to us here, that's wonderful, very evocative of the classic show. Core of sci-fi fantasy, these are beautiful. They are. And Nate is with us. Nate Channel is here saying, thank you. Whose views? No, thank you for sharing your art, basically, for this. And keep us updated with anything else that you add to it or whatever. But I think it looks stunning. And as I say, if you ever want to give it to me, I'd be very grateful. Thank you very much. I'd play with it as well.
You wouldn't get any work done, would you? You wouldn't get any work done. You'd just be
just play all day. Yeah. Nice one, Nate. Nice one, son. Let's have another one, says Pete Harrington. Thank you for that, Pete. That takes me back. Oh, and you're kidding. Nate Chandler is also saying, I'll keep you updated because I'll soon be building the 8th Doctor's console room. Oh, no. That's one I really want. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Nate Channel's talent. That's what I want. But no, thank you for that. Hello, PVFS. It's good to see you. Lots of love for you, as you can see in the chat, for your work there. Thank you very much. Matt Silent. Hello, Matt Silent is saying, the Gatwa TARDIS interior could work, just not with Gatwa. Oh, yes. As part of that could be very true. Yeah. And perhaps if they added bits as well, Matt, around the console room, like Philip Siegel did with his version of the TARDIS, little memorabilia things or whatever.
Made it interesting.
Yeah.
Just make it interesting, because the smaller one from the classic series, it was significantly smaller for obvious reasons, and it didn't need it. Whereas the Hartnell one, despite the fact that the studio was like a postage stamp, the Hartnell console room was bigger. So they did have items of furniture, didn't it? The Ormolu clock and stuff like that. Yeah. But this was just, you could have landed an aircraft in there and it would have been equally pointless. So yeah, way too big.
Absolutely. And yet your imagination in the original days did it all for you, didn't it? It's only now as an adult, that I suddenly realized how small some of the TARDIS sets are, especially through the 70s. And you just think, oh, the 3-wall flat thing and blah, blah, blah. But as a kid, it was huge. It was massive.
Because you got absorbed into the story. Because there was a story. There was a plot. And it was well acted. Stuff that you don't have these days.
The good old days, everybody, when they can actually tell us a story. Fafty Head is saying that the recent TARDIS set resembled a jet Superloo in Abu Dhabi airports. I wouldn't know. I'm not allowed to go to Abu Dhabi, of course, because they wouldn't appreciate me over there. No matter what certain idiots think, I tell you. Hiya, Gary Hewitt. How are you? Gary's telling us that he loved the Time Monster console room. Oh, you're the one.
They were really weird roundels, weren't they? They were like salad bowls just stuck to the wall, weren't they?
I think that's what they were, weren't they? Weren't they washing up bowls?
Probably was.
Well, anyway, thanks to both Eddie and to Nate for sending us updates on their builds. Absolutely love it. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Another update for you is that last week on Headlines on your big show, we were talking about the fact that RTD, oh, I didn't give you a warning. Sorry, everybody. I know you might need to sit down now. But RTD was appearing, wasn't he, at a theatre in Swansea, Ian, to talk about his favourite subject himself, basically. Yeah. Well, it's been and gone because it was a couple of nights ago, and got a bit of an update for you here as well. This is, now you're going to like this, not a lot, but you've got this from Cultbox. RTD speaks at Cardiff fundraiser, no Doctor Who update. Now, I know this is going to shock a lot of you because there's nothing to update us on. And as we said in our show last Sunday, we're all sort of becoming to the conclusion now, it's not going to happen. And who cares? None of you did in our poll last week, I tell you. And we don't. But anyway, let's get into this because you'll like this. On Friday, May the 15th, Doctor Who showrunner RTD sat down for a conversation with Sherman Theatre's artistic director, Francesca Goodridge, in an evening to raise funds for the Cardiff venue. The event was billed as a chat with screenwriter and producer RTD about his life, his early career, his life, his work, creating landmark TV, including Queer as Folk, his life, Doctor Who, and It's a Sin, his life, his relationship with Wales, his creative process and future plans. Additionally, attendees had the opportunity to submit a question for RTD. Tom Harries, who allegedly has a popular and allegedly informative YouTube channel dedicated to Doctor Who, attended the talk and reported that RTD didn't provide a progress update for the 2026 Doctor Who Christmas special, which is expected to go into production this year. This is the tweet kindly given to us by Cultbox, where this young lad that's what I'm saying. Said, saw a British icon and RTD at the Sherman Theatre charity event tonight. And no, I didn't find anything out about Christmas. And then he's put one of those silly little emoji things where he's crying. The Cultbox article goes on to say it's notable that the subject of the Doctor Who Christmas special didn't enter the conversation either via the host or by the submitted questions. The 2026 Doctor Who Christmas special was first announced on October 25 in conjunction with the news that the co-production agreement with Disney was at an end. The last update on the progress of this special came from Doctor Who composer Murray Gold in February 26, who reported that RTD had written several different versions of the script depending on certain outcomes, including probably one nobody wanted it.
It's amazing, isn't it? The person responsible for the music is talking about the scripts. How does that work?
Exactly. It's amazing, though, that Cultbox managed to take a whole story about this, but it was nice to get the updates because I didn't know anybody that was going. Harry's always makes me laugh, says Dongo. The poor guy has been completely taken in by the crap from RTD. I mean, he's probably even voted Green because he's just ridiculous. But I do know that he is part of the whole TQ cult to an extent as well. But it made me laugh when they called it an informative channel. I'm sure. Sorry about that. But the children need to be nurtured, don't they? No, not really. Hello, PTA, who's saying to us there will possibly be a Christmas special. Likely it will be a week's story using clips from the past 20 years. I just think they should just, as we said last week, PTA, I think they should just let it go, because who's going to notice apart from people like Farries? We'll notice and go, who cares? That lot will have a meltdown for a couple of hours or so, and then they'll have to get on with it because that's what life is like. But the public, the not-we's of the United Kingdom, don't give a crap.
No,
and they don't care. And if it doesn't appear at Christmas, would the general public of the United Kingdom right now notice?
Nobody will give two stuffs. They'll be too happy enjoying Christmas. Why would they want that spoiling? Really? I mean, it's not appointment TV. It wouldn't be something that people would be looking forward to. If they watched it at all, they'd be watching it just because they were vegged out in front of the TV and it just happened to be on, and there was no batteries in the remote and they couldn't turn it over. That's it. They're not going to make a choice to watch it at all.
No, I mean, we've said it on the show before. It's an instant flop already. It's going to get less than 1 million, I reckon. What? RTD, says Mark A. Wright. No cryptic dripping of words from the up-and-coming script. No updates on how fabulous it's going to be whilst keeping storylines under wraps. How very uncharacteristic. Isn't it just? Isn't it just? And it's a case of, as well, that if this thing was in production right now, if this thing was looking any good, he would bloody well start selling it now. I know he's got the TQ Cult crap coming on Channel 4 this month. But he would start to talk because he knows everybody's going to want to talk about Doctor Who.
I haven't checked. I wonder if his, because, we were talking, weren't we, last week, JT? His Insta account had disappeared. And I haven't checked to see if that's back yet. But that's unusual in itself, because that's normally where he likes to say how splendid he is, isn't it?
It's true. John Keeley saying to us, why the hell did Ncuti not admit it was a piece of trash much sooner? I think he probably did on the day that he left, or why one of the reasons he did leave. Because remember, we're actually looking at him leaving in January, February 2025. So he hasn't been around them for such a long time. We are going to come to that in a second, actually, if you don't know what John and Oz are talking about there. Problem being is saying he is voting Green. That's about... what's his name? That doesn't. I'm not surprised. He probably listened to our about the toothless or the bad tooth wonder. God.
The one who forgot to vote at the elections after telling everybody to vote,
and forgot to pay his own houseboat council tax.
Yeah, funny that, isn't it? If one of them pompous preaching twats isn't paying one bill, then you've got another one that's not paying stamp duty. And then miraculously doesn't get fined like every other person in the country would do. They don't. It's just we know what we're dealing with. We see them. We see them for what they are.
Well, unfortunately, not enough are. Look who's just got in an awful lot here in the Greens in Scotland. We've got several of them not even born in Britain and now in Scottish government, for crying out loud.
One
we've
doesn't
got
have
one
a
guy
visa,
that's calling himself transgender, non-binary, blah, blah, blah nonsense. And he's a student on a temporary visa who can now get paid by the taxpayer a 3-figure sum. And because his student visa finishes during his term that he's been elected to in the Scottish government, they'll keep it. It won't be a problem keeping him on to the end of the 5 years. No. It's an absolute disgrace. That's why I say, and I don't care who I upset, I would abolish the Scottish government and the bloody Welsh government and take it all back to Westminster, because it hasn't worked. And trust me, I know, because I've had experience with the Scottish government and their isms and their oughts and their phobias. I can guarantee you, I was really annoyed about that, that these idiots have got in. The British public got irritated because Robert Payne. You're right, Robert. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
I always got irritated because we couldn't have an English parliament. They just said, "Oh, you've got Westminster," but no, that was a national thing. If Wales, Ireland, and Scotland could have their own, there was nothing that represented purely English issues, and it was. It just shows, we're supposed to be all equal, all the same, and yet, try not paying for a prescription in England, that kind of thing.
The Doctor Who, says Stephen O'Neill, has previous when filming the Christmas special. The time of the Doctor took just under a month when principal photography running from September the 8th, 2013 to October the 5th, 2013. And it bloody shows, because it was awful. And of course, that was the problem as well with the whole thing about 2013, is that like now, they didn't have a Doctor because Matt Smith was out of contract and he's moved on. So because we were robbed of a whole season of Matt Smith, if you go back and look at the timeline, because season 7 was split into 2 over 2 years because Moffat was allegedly too busy. So they split series 7. So instead of getting a full run of Matt Smith, where he could have left at the end of that properly on series 8, you get these specials instead. And it was just a nonsense, nasty time. And I don't blame Matt for saying, no, I've had enough. It was lucky he came back for Day of the Doctor and Time of the Doctor, because he didn't have to. But his love and his devotion to Doctor Who and the fandom meant that he did. Really nice of him to do that, but he didn't have to. And I wouldn't have blamed him if he didn't. But as for the Time of the Doctor, bloody mess. And that's the problem. Allegedly, they've got all these scripts. Doesn't matter, does it? It doesn't matter because it's still not in production. And if they're going to go ahead and do something late in September, like we think that they will be doing late, it's just going to be another mess. It's going to be as cheap and tacky looking as The Time of the Doctor.
Well, he's not going to discover a skill all of a sudden and be able to write a script, is he? Really?
No. And he's moved on. He's starting to write this thing for 2028 now as well for Channel 4, another TQ cult thing, because it's all in his head. And of course, don't forget, he writes what he knows, which is very small, very, very small. Tharies just tend to clickbait now and again, says Domgo, now and again. But then loads and loads and loads of bloody YouTubers do. It's just lazy. Yeah. A lot of YouTubers seem to have this thing about, we've got to be the first, we've got to be the first. Who cares? Just have fun. Have fun. Be with your audience.
Yeah, but some can't, can they? And they end up doing way more harm than good, like hassling Film is Fabulous, for example, when they should just leave them alone, you know, and claiming multiple sources and sending emails to everybody left, right, and centre. You don't do any favours, and you give everybody else a bad rep as well.
It's one of the things we at Who's Views like to do. Yes, we're reporting all the headlines and stuff like that, but we do have fun. We've got loads of other channels where we have fun, and part of the fun is to come and meet with you guys and be a community and have fun. It's just good stuff. Jason says Tharies appeared in the background of Wish World. Oh, did he? That was the episode of the disabled camp where they were living. I can't remember, but that now explains an awful lot of why he got that and why he's just so loved up with it all. But I have to tell him, if you ever saw this, RTD is a cretin. He's not the icon you seem to think he is. He's an absolute TQ cult leader. He is vile. And hopefully one day when you've grown up, you'll be able to see that properly. Or are you too left-wing and in an echo chamber that you're not going to be able to? Philip Roy is joining us saying, what, there won't be any turkey on Christmas Day? Shocking, isn't it, Phil? It's shocking.
So what he did there.
I saw he did that. Very, very clever. Very clever. Frankie Stanish saying there's more chance of Come Dancing with Josh Widdicombe and Big Break with Paddy the Bouncer coming on Christmas. Yeah. Josh Widdicombe, of course, as you may have seen this week, is rumored to be one of the new presenters of Strictly Come Dancing. And Paddy McGuinness is rumored to be, or has been confirmed to be, the new host of the revitalized, relaunched Big Break, which used to be back in my day with Jim Davidson, and which was the snooker show. You might remember that, everybody. But Bullseye was such a huge success for ITV. They were bound to bring Big Break back on the BBC because they've got no original ideas.
Just seems to be Paddy McGuinness for everything, isn't it? I think I was reading something where there's three particular female execs at the BBC that are having menopausal hot flushes over Paddy McGuinness, and therefore they seek to put him in everything.
Everything he's done, Ian, has been a flop.
Oh, yeah, completely. Absolutely catastrophic. So that's why they keep on doing it, because it's BBC, isn't it?
Yeah. Hartnell's Ghost, good to see you. Nice to see you. And Dirty Davros is saying, I thought the UK government outlawed Christmas. It's on the way.
Not yet, but coming.
It's on the way. Oh, yes. I can assure you. They'll do the best. Oh, yes. That's what you get when you get a far left dictatorship. Tyler Durden Smile, nice to see you. Are they waiting for Billy Piper, who's filming Wednesday, before starting the Christmas special? They're not saying. They're not saying. Although I heard that Billy Piper said somewhere, and this is alleged because it's come second, third hand, that she said she wasn't doing Doctor Who this year. So we'll see if that's true. Maybe they just haven't contacted her or got a contract out yet. I don't know. Killbot, it's good to see you as well. St. John's with us there as well. What's this from Gary Hewitt? Doctor Who is for everyone. RTD, you should be sued for destroying Hartnell, Troughton, and Pertwee's legacy. I'd throw Tom Baker's in there as well, mate.
Yeah.
I really would.
Chibnall in the dock as well, along with Moffat. All of them.
I've got a super chat here from Lex who's saying, pastor convicted for preaching John 3:16 near hospital in Northern Ireland. This doesn't surprise me, Lex. It doesn't surprise me. You know, more and more of the street preachers, as we used to call them when we were kids, are being arrested weekly. And it's shocking because some of them have been there for bloody years.
Yeah.
Zach Whitten. Hello to Zach. Even though Tharies does seem to get on okay with RTD2, he was honest about his dislike of the reality war. Well, only a blind Spiel Snape, if you've got that reference, wouldn't be. Because it was the worst piece of television in BBC television history. It was the reality kitchen sink. He threw everything into that because he was desperate, Zach, wasn't he? It was awful television.
Yeah,
and thank God I never have to relive it ever again. Oh. Jason G, behave yourself, you're naughty. And Nate Channel also wants to know any news on the war between the land and the sea releasing in North America. Well, we're going to come to that shortly, because I think there might now be a reason why Disney aren't prepared to show it. I think they've just personally forgot about it. But let's go from one TQ cult member to the other, shall we? Because you may have seen these through the week. Yes, ex-Doctor Who, and thank goodness I'm saying that. And yet I still can't believe I'm saying he was a Doctor Who, because he was bloody awful. Ncuti Gatwa started to put things like this onto his Instagram and Sky TV Instagram this week, which was announcing or publicising the fact that he was hosting last night's edition of Saturday Night Live UK. Now, I can't say I've seen this because I don't have a television licence. And Sky, of course, you have to have a TV license, don't you, to watch Sky, even though it's nothing to do with the BBC. Our system is absolutely ridiculous. I think we got another super chat there, Ian, so bear with me 1 second while I find that. There it is.
It's another Lex one. Yeah, that's
I hope RTD gets haunted by the three doctors, says Lex. He'll write a story about it if he does, because he writes what he knows, you know.
Yeah.
He writes what he knows.
It'll put a spin on it, won't it, where he's oppressed?
Probably. Yeah.
Silly little angry man.
He is very silly, angry man, and completely misinformed, and has misinformed millions by jumping on the TQ cult bandwagon. Absolute a homophobic bandwagon. So anyway, back to Gatwa. Yeah, so he's gone from one Saturday night flop, i.e. Doctor Who, to another Saturday night flop, i.e. Saturday Night Live. And as you can see from this story here from Variety, Ncuti Gatwa takes aim at Doctor Who in Saturday Night Live UK monologue. About 12 of you watch me. Maybe that's why I kept crying. Yep, he did. He did. Now, this was obviously scripted for him. But what's interesting about it, Ian, is it means that he, as well as the people who wrote this script, are aware that his Doctor and the series he was in was a huge fail in the United Kingdom, as well as worldwide. And it was supposed to be funny. This is supposed to be funny. But because it's truthful, it's not funny, because it's ridiculous the way he was just saying it, you know. He said, I'm known for this. I'll get on with the story. Look, here we go. From Variety, Doctor Who star Ncuti Gatwa took aim at the sci-fi show during his monologue as the host for the season finale of Saturday Night Live UK on May the 16th. In his monologue, Gatwa mocked the perceived lack of enthusiasm for the later seasons of Doctor Who and the curious climax of the finale of season 15 when Gatwa's Doctor regenerated into Billy Piper. He said, I've had so many fantastic roles in my career. Millions of you watch me as Eric in Sex Education. Round of applause. And then about 12 of you watch me in Doctor Who. Maybe that's why I kept crying, he joked, which case that's when the audience laughed. Didn't applaud, they laughed. Joking aside, he said, it was genuinely a magical role. In fact, it was the first time my parents were truly proud of my career. When I told them I got the part, they said, yes, finally, a doctor in the family. Ha, ha, ha. Even though I have since regenerated into Billy Piper, and then he looks to camera at this point and says, yeah, I don't understand it either. I still love Doctor Who, and I got to meet so many crazy characters, sort of a bit like this place. Now, Ian, that's been scripted for him, and he's read it.
Well, I mean, he was never able to sort of like speak unaided, was he? When he was interviewed, when he was in the role, whenever he was asked a question, you'd always get the eyes darting off camera first, just to make sure that he was on script, so to speak.
So that a certain person in the sidelines, so, you know, was being able to say to him, yes, you can say this, and no, you can't say this, and you can do this. Yeah,
I mean, he's one of those alleged pretty boys that should just basically stick to wearing clothes that people can photograph and not speaking where at all possible. Because I don't think he's got anything valid to say. I mean, you showed that picture earlier where it said fashion, not fascism. I would love to say, Ncuti, what's a fascist? Can you please just define it for me? Because I don't know. Please explain to me what you mean. Because He'd be like a fish out of water. He'd be gasping for air. He wouldn't know. He wouldn't have a clue. He's doing it just for clicks. Which,
the other thing
again,
about that, though, is, again, it shows the hypocrisy of the far left. Because what did he say on set with Virada Setu a couple of years ago?
Yeah, about pissing people off and all the rest of the stuff because they're brown people in the TARDIS and there's no whiteys and all that kind of thing.
So
Paraphrasing.
who's the racist?
Thing is, he's talking about no fascism, and yet he is a member of the far left, which
exactly.
Is by definition,
Yeah.
But there you go.
Yeah. Zach is saying to us here, Ncuti is more of a clothes peg than an actor. He is.
Yeah.
He is. I totally agree with you, Zach. He should stay doing the modeling, with which you can pay quite a lot of money. Get out there, do the modeling, keep your mouth shut, because you're more of a modeler than an actor. As Margie is saying to us, he's a pretty face and nothing else. Well, it takes all sorts to make a universe. If you think he's got a pretty face, that's absolutely fine. I wouldn't. And Gary Hewitt saying that, yes, the Doctor became too humanized, over emotional, and lost that aloofness. And that's down to the writing as well, not just the performance. Because, I'm your servant. You might think this. I couldn't possibly comment. But I would, I mean, no. I don't want a high-kicking, mincing ninny as the Doctor. Thank you very much. So
racist as well. He was extremely racist, as were a lot of the scripts, as we know. And Doctor Who's never been about that in so overt.
The scripts were judgmental. They were judging the audience. That's why the audience left. And it's so out of touch now as well, because we've just seen in the United Kingdom a massive rally of patriots in our beautiful country, in our main capital.
Far right thugs, JT. Apparently,
according to our Prime Minister, they are. But from what I could see, was good, fun, good nature, patriotic, and definitely more than 60,000 people there that the Met Police would have unbelievable. So, things like this, and we're going to come to this with the BBC story we've got for you as well, everybody. These people are so out of date now. And they must be terrified because the dictations that they've had, and you just look at our Prime Minister for the leading of that, the dictates they've had onto society are crumbling in front of their very life. They are losing control of being able to tell us what we must say, think, do, refer to people as. And we seem to be slowly going back to, no, we don't want any of that. We want to be as we were, which was fine. So Sydney Rough Diamond saying to us, 12 viewers might have been a bit optimistic. The PVFS is saying to us the funniest part was the 12 viewers. Yeah. And Stephen O'Neill saying to us, was the SNL show hosted by Gatwa sponsored by a knee pad company? Let's make sure he never, ever lives that down, because it's a pathetic thing to say, wasn't it? Hello, Marine Boy. How are you? I'm going to come to this in a second. Gatwa's SNL was the lowest rated. I think now we can say he's TV what an albatross would have been to the Titanic.
He's been involved in so many flops now. I think he should restrict his career to advertising for erectile dysfunction medication because of his flops. He's got the experience, hasn't he, and nothing else, to be honest.
Yeah, it's true. Thank you, everybody, for this. Chris Graham saying to us that Bonnie Langford was on Sunday Brunch today talking about the Paddington stage show. The presenters never even mentioned Doctor Who. I don't blame them. I mean, it's unusual because they usually do with Bonnie. They'll throw it in somewhere. Is Sunday Brunch on the BBC?
Don't know.
I don't know either. Because certainly if it's a BBC show, they'll always try and throw in Doctor Who at some point for us. For her, Digby is saying Gatwa is just a left-wing authoritarian, obsessed with identity, obsessed with controlling thought. And I'm glad you've said that, because that brings me into this. This is from the show. These are screen grabs from last night's show via the Tube of Who after the event, just to let you know. So this is it here. This is how he came on. He said, I'm Ncuti Gatwa and I'm buzzed to be here. And look at this. Here we go again. I'm the first black host. Doesn't stop there, Ian. I'm the first career homophobic slur host. And I'm the first openly Scottish host, which is debatable. Again, so exactly what Digby's just said there, the labels again. I'm the first black host. I'm the first queen. And let me just remind you, Who viewers, as well, if you're new to my rants here on Who's Views, the reason he can't say he's same-sex attracted or gay or homosexual is because those three words are deemed to be transphobic by the TQ cult. So he can't say that. And he's part of that far left TQ cult. So he can't say gay or same-sex attracted or homosexual because it's phobic. This is why hashtag LGB without the TQ exists and why it's gaining in momentum every single hour. And it's wonderful to see because we reject the far left ideological nonsense. And he said something else there. Nonsense. But
I'm
there
sick
he
of
is.
all these. I'm the first black this. I'm the first female that. And although that's not him, obviously, although, give it time. It's it's 2026. We should be way beyond that now. But it's used more to highlight division than anything else. It's absolutely ridiculous. But he can't help it, can he? I mean, he's about as much. I know he was he born in Scotland? He wasn't born in Scotland.
He wasn't. He's Rwandan, and then he moved
Rwandan, so
with his family when he was young to Scotland. So he classed himself, but we're not like America. We don't do American African. We don't do American Canadian or whatever it is. We don't do that. You are British or not. So even though he's passing himself off all the time, and certainly if you remember, and a lot of us gave him the benefit of the doubt because he'd grown up in Scotland, but he's not really. He's not British, really. He is Rwandan. So actually, they broke the rule, the BBC, in a sense, by saying only a British actor can play the Doctor.
So if he's calling himself Scottish, why was so much of his Doctor Who symbolism littered with Rwandan iconography?
And as we reported last week, it's the same for the woman one with all the thing. Yeah. Why? Because it shouldn't be for the Doctor. The Doctor's got nothing to do with it. It's the actor. I mean, why? I just don't get it. But anyway, that's a point I'm making there. I mean, he says he's Scottish. I think it's debatable because he wasn't born in Scotland. Yeah. I could say I'm Scottish, but I wasn't born in Scotland. I was born in England, which makes me English.
And Ruda Cabana was a choir boy.
Anyway, so there's all that there, can of worms there. We've got this as well from Deadline, who said Saturday Night Live UK's first season came to a close on a bum note ratings-wise, up against stiff competition from the Eurovision Song Contest on BBC One, which is debatable in itself. Sky's adaptation of the iconic NBC comedy drew its lowest audience of the series, with Sex Education's Ncuti Gatwa guest presenting, not Doctor Who, but Sex Education's Ncuti Gatwa guest presenting. Saturday Night Live UK was watched by 86,420 viewers at 10 p.m, which was around 28% down on its previous low of 120,000 viewers for the Jack Whitehall-fronted episode. Gatwa's rating was less than half that of the 197,200 audience for Ted Lasso star Hannah Waddingham, which was achieved last week. Here's the breakdown for you from Deadline and Overnight TV. So as you can see, episode 1 with Tina Fey got 226,000. Jamie Dornan for episode 2 got 205,000. Riz Ahmed for the third week got 130,100. Jack Whitehall, 120,000. Nicola Coughlan, remember her? 129,970. She's another one that's completely and utterly up her arse. Amy Lou Wood got 143,730. She went up on Nicola Coughlan's appearance. Hannah Waddingham, 197,200, and then Gatwa, 86,400. So he can't hold a show. This man is not star quality, everybody. Over on the BBC, it says the Eurovision Song Contest was watched by an average of 5.2 million views, which is down millions from what it has been. Again, because it's gone completely bat crazy with far left radical alleged progressive nonsense, and that's all from the BARB figures. But can you notice as well what all these people that have presented have in common? Tina Fey, Jamie Dornan, Riz Ahmed, Jack Whitehall, Nicola Coughlan, Amy Lou Wood, Hannah Waddingham, and Gatwa. Not one of them is a right-wing person.
No.
Not one of them. So what's going on with comedy? Where's the balance? As ever, bad results mean you get a second series. Saturday Night Live UK will return in September on Sky. Why is it, Third Doctor, in that everything at the moment, when it's piss poor crap, gets 2 series at least?
I don't know. I don't get it. I think they struggle, don't they, to accept their bright ideas being failures. So they'll plow on in the hope that they will convince people to watch. And it'll just be more of the same. It'll be another bunch of left wingers, if not some of the same ones back again. And it won't change. If anything, the ratings will be worse. And then they might can it. But it's just a huge waste of money, isn't it? But then, comedy on TV, it hasn't been right for a long time, has it? If we're completely honest, 20 plus years at least. In the world where Mrs. Brown's Boys is still on TV.
Yeah.
If that's still on TV, it's dead on its arse, don't you?
Yeah. And that was down to Piers Wenger, of course, who commissioned it for 10 years or something ridiculous as he was leaving the BBC. That was just spiting the public. I think he knew it as well. Absolute nonsense. Thank you for all in the chat. Let's go into the chat here and see what people are saying to us. MD is saying to us, MDB18468, hopefully Gatwa will be in the Christmas special. He's not going to be.
No.
And what do you want? Do you want less people to watch it? He's gone. He's absolutely gone, MD. If there is a Christmas special, if they go ahead with this, and I reckon somewhere in BBC Studios right now is saying, who commissioned this bloody thing? Who made a press announcement? Who committed to it? Because it's pretty obvious it's in trouble.
Yeah.
We've got no doctor in place. There are several versions of the script, as we've reported on the show. It's getting very late in the day to put it in the can for a December release. Nobody's talking about it, and nobody wants it. There's a small minority of fans that would look forward to it, but as we've just said on the show, the general public of Britain don't give a toss.
No.
And neither does millions and millions of us as fans. I don't care if the thing doesn't come back for 3 or 4 years. No.
Won't miss it. Won't be joining in any letter writing campaign that we might have done in the 80s.
Well, they haven't got the imagination to do all that, the minority. And they're not really going to listen to a minority of people, are they?
No.
Really?
You would hope not, although they do pander to the minorities, don't they? They, look at how many drag queens there are on. They're everywhere. So they are pandering to it, but whether they would pander this far, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. I'm not sure about it. Kirsty, our very own lady of the chat, is with us. Hi, Kirst. Everyone feels sorry for Amy because SNL USA made a sketch about her buck teeth. Well, that's the tolerant left for you, everyone.
Yeah. Be kind. Be kind.
Yeah. Dongo is saying to us, don't worry, 6 billion will watch it on 7-day catch-up. I have seen Dongo, and you might laugh, because I have seen that what they're doing for Sky when they're reporting the ratings is, yes, the overnights you can't get away with really because we can find them very easily. But for the consolidators, they are including the repeat shows and the 7 days and something else all as one to say that episode got so many. So I wouldn't even believe those episodes there that we've just looked at, quite frankly, because I don't know if they're 7 days or overnights. Oh, it's amazing.
There's going to be a certain proportion of people that watch it more than once. So they're being double counted, aren't they?
Yeah. It's just ridiculous how it is now, isn't it? Be thankful that the war between the land and the sea didn't get a second series, says Phil Roy. I'm very grateful. Since John is saying, I much prefer Father Ted to Mrs. Brown Boys. Yeah, unfortunately, you're never going to get to see Father Ted ever again, which is very sad because it was a classic comedy. I Am Your Servant is saying, Saturday Night Live should concentrate on giving us their first funny joke.
Yes.
I just can't believe that they've tried it again. Siegel is saying that the last decent comedy was One Foot in the Grave. That was funny, wasn't it?
I did like the It Crowd, but then Father Ted, It Crowd, Graham Linehan, genius. Yeah. I did like the It Crowd. I also like the TV series for a bit obscure, but Count Arthur Strong, which was a spin-off of the radio comedy. Really, really, really very funny. Quite wholesome as well. No filth, no rubbish, anything like that in
That
it.
makes a change, doesn't it? No
Yeah.
bad language or anything like that.
Naturally, it was popular, so they didn't make any more. That was BBC.
Of course, yeah. You have to be unpopular, don't you? Like that idiot drag queen thing we talked about, which has got a second series and a spin-off here on the Tube of Who. Absolute nonsense. Matt is saying, actually, if Gatwa's in the Christmas special, we can get closer to the show being properly cancelled. Matt, I think people are going to have to understand that the show has been effectively cancelled. It's not in production. And we have reported from Zy Bennett, who's the BBC Studios chief. He said, we've got this Christmas thing coming, and I'm paraphrasing, we've got this Christmas thing coming, we'll get that out of the way, and then we'll look at it. That is nice for saying, for those of us that were there in '89, we've heard this before. It's a nice way of saying, we're just going to park it over here for a while until the time's right to bring it back. And until they say anything different, I am convinced this thing isn't coming back, and I am very glad about it. Is Gatwa doing anything else?
It's a very important programme in our schedules. It's very important to the BBC. We're just going to take a look so we get it right and bring it back, and then you won't see it for 10 years. Just like before.
They've got to just get it right, and I think they know they've got to get it right.
Yeah.
And at the moment, they can't get it right. I mean, we do know, well, we can surmise RTD is not going back to Doctor Who, even if he gets this Christmas episode off the ground. He's not going back to it after that. There is no series plan for 2027. And that's it. I mean, it's common sense where we're standing right now on the 17th of May, 2026. It's common sense. It's not in production. RTD has also moved on to this other TQ cult drama, which is going to be produced next year for showing in 2028. And then after that, I think he should retire because I think he's done. That's just me. Is Gatwa doing anything else as Moondust? No idea. Don't tend to follow him. I'm not interested. I think he's probably at a gym somewhere, possibly. A few more Comic Cons to try and rob the fans, possibly, allegedly. Or
photographing himself in a bathroom, probably like he did last time.
You know, probably turning up to some sort of far left event, possibly. I don't know. Space Peninsula is saying, I do think there is a need for British sketch comedy on TV, though. SNL UK has done some decent ones, in my opinion, and hit rate low. They're good at ripping into Starmer every week. Well, you know, that's what they should do with politicians. They are public servants. They're there to be got at. Spitting Image used to do it in my day very, very well every Sunday night at 30.
They were brutal, weren't they?
It was fabulous. I mean, the Thatcher is literally the Iron Lady. I mean, it was so funny. Wasn't
and
it?
The royal family as well. I mean, there was the Queen Mother alive then, and they made jokes about her being a gin-drinking drunk who was
which made the character
horse riding and everything else. And then do you remember her favourite? I think he was her favourite jockey, Lester Piggott. And he went to prison, didn't he, for corruption for a while? They did a sketch on him racing, and then he was just looking, and it was bars. It was fantastic. It was so brutal.
Yeah. They were very, very good, though. They were fantastic. And that's what they should do. But I don't know. I think there are other formats that could work. I mean, we have to remember that Saturday Night Live is a co-production by the network in America that does Saturday Night Live in America, the original show. But they could have come up with something a little bit more British, maybe in format. You know, I just don't like these American things that we just take it and bring it here. I mean, it's even in, as you saw those pictures there, it's even in a sort of warehousey type set, you know, with the false bricks and all that. I think they
did the same with the chat shows, didn't they? When they did Jonathan Ross, and then they've got Graham Norton, haven't they? They've very much copied the Stephen Colbert and the old Jay Leno shows, and Craig Ferguson and a few others are all the desks and chairs and things like that with big screens and a live orchestra and stuff like that. They always copy the format, don't they? Yeah.
I can't say that. Itagishi is saying, surprised Ncuti Gatwa isn't playing Clytemnestra in Nolan's Odyssey. That's something else I'm avoiding. Can't be bothered with all that nonsense. If you're going to do something like the Odyssey, which is hugely important, you do it properly. You don't go ticking boxes with your DEI nonsense.
It'll flop.
Cara's with us, Ian. Sorry. JT, on a lighter note, I finally listened to The Sword of Orion. Can I give it 100 out of 10? I thought McGann was brilliant. That's because, of course, in the week there, we reviewed The Sword of Orion. a big fanish audio story as part of our 8th Doctor season, and we enjoyed it. So thank you for that.
Good show. That was a good show.
Enjoyed that.
Mm.
Oh, and by the way, Ian, we've had a lot of comments and emails about that. So I can confirm here on Headlines, yes, we will do some more audio stories for you. So come and join us for that. Make sure you have subscribed. We've got Warflare with us. Hello, Warflare 1312. I'll have the steak, please. And what about the vegetables? They'll have the steak too. Thanks for that. I'm not sure what was going on there. Listen, I'll tell you what I forgot to do at the top of the show. I forgot to say a huge thank you to everybody that's been getting in touch with us this week here at Who's View. So I'm going to do it for you now. Especially to Problem Being, to Paul Urbans, to Rory Stanage, to Derek Hart, to Mark Milford, to Steve Hinley, to Adam Luff, AJ Skinner, Philip Tassini, Stephen Rogerson, Davy Boy, to Mike Bakerfrost, The Forbidden Man, Gary Bryant, David Nash, to Jane Evans, to AJ Skinner, to Jack Main, to Philip Shaw, to Lee Berry, to Lawrence Akers, David Phillip, and Farsight. Thank you so much for getting in touch, and everybody for getting in touch this week. Really, really appreciate it. Matt, we've cheered Matt up there as well, Matt Enspiel.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
good.
we cheered him up by announcing that because he's come in and said, boom shakala, more audios. Yeah, because he's a fan of them. And hello to Drex, who's just joining us as well. Hello to you, mate. That's it. Oh, thank you for that one. Yeah, it's a long time ago. I can't remember. I can't remember that. But Warflare is saying that's her spitting image. No, it doesn't bring any bells at all for me. I'm sorry, it's a long time ago.
In a restaurant with other people, I'll have the steak, and what about the vegetables? And she refers to the other people as vegetables.
Now I remember. Yes, yes, that was funny, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, or the cabinet of vegetables. Absolutely, I do remember it now. Oh, what a lovely memory. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Okay, then let's move on to the BBC, shall we? And as we're always reporting here on Headlines, when it comes to the British Broadcasting Corporation, allegedly, although I'm not too sure about the word British being in their name these days, they are constantly moving from one drama to another, whether it be very dodgy people that are employing in front or behind the cameras, to people behind the cameras having very weird ideas, to them thinking the British public are just a disgrace and need to be educated, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on as to what is wrong with them all. And one of the things that's come up this week is we've often talked about the BBC television license. And I know from the emails I get in that a lot of our friends out of the UK still can't get their head around this thing that we have. Neither can we, because it's out of date. It has no place in British culture today. But the BBC are paid for by the BBC viewers, the tax-paying public. It's a tax, basically. When you buy a television, you have to buy a BBC TV license and pay money per year to them, for them to lecture you and give you low-quality output. That's my opinion. The license fee...
It makes no sense, does it? It makes absolutely no sense at all.
Not in this day and age when we are now in the world of streaming, you know, and that's where this comes in, because the BBC are so desperate to keep the license fee because it's a confirmed income for them. You know, they know what they're getting, and they're raising it now every single year, aren't they? And they're just about to raise it again in April this year, when they only raised it last year. It used to be once every 3 or 4 years the thing would get raised, but now it seems to be every year, like the train prices in England. It's absolutely shocking. And because the BBC are absolutely determined to reject any other offers of how they can get funding, including the one we're always banging on about, which is subscription, because they know the majority of the British public would say, sod that, I'm not paying for that then, I'll put my money somewhere else. They're now looking at how to... Am I allowed to say blackmail on the Tube of Who? But they're now looking...
You could say it feels like blackmail.
Well, there we go. Look at this story from GB News this week. BBC license fee may be forced upon Netflix and Amazon Prime viewers under new Labour government plans. You heard me correct. Let's get into the story. Millions of Netflix and Amazon Prime subscribers could be required to pay the BBC license fee under Labour government proposals aimed at securing the corporation's long-term funding. Labour ministers, are increasingly leaning towards retaining the license fee but expanding it to cover streaming platforms. The shift would bring households which no longer watch traditional television into the funding system for the very first time. Labour is said to be wary of moving the BBC to either a subscription-based model or one funded through advertising, fearing both could weaken its public service remit and destabilise the wider broadcasting sector. The BBC has warned it faces a future of managed decline without reform. I'm surprised they're allowed to say that word. While around 80% of the population pays the licence fee, the broadcaster says 94% still uses its services each month. Its income has fallen by around a quarter over the past decade, prompting a £500 million cost-cutting programme expected to remove roughly 2,000 jobs over the next 2 years. According to The Times, BBC executives argue widening the number of contributors could eventually reduce the cost per household. Culture Secretary Lisa Nandy, in the news herself today, has previously expressed caution about shifting fully to subscription. It's absolutely right that we explore subscriptions, she said. But if you believe, as I do, that one of the BBC's greatest strengths is its ability to unite the nation, please, everybody, don't fall about laughing when I'm reading this. I can hear you. Then you've got to be cautious about the use of subscriptions and paywalls. Ministers are also concerned that allowing the BBC to carry advertising could damage commercial broadcasters such as ITV and Channel 4, which are already under financial pressure. The BBC itself rejected both subscription and advertising-funded alternatives in its response to Labour's Green Paper on its future. I'll just say that again. The BBC rejected both subscription and advertising-funded alternatives in its response to Labour's Green Paper on its future. Streaming companies have criticised the reported plans. I bet they bloody have. It's pretty desperate to argue that everyone should be made to pay for the BBC whether they watch it or not, one industry source said, adding that the corporation should think more radically and creatively about generating income without undermining universal access. Current rules already require a TV licence for watching live broadcasts on streaming platforms, including live boxing on Netflix or Champions League football on Amazon Prime. The BBC has acknowledged that many viewers are unaware these rules already apply. The Department for Culture, Media and Sport declined to comment directly on the proposals. A spokesman said Labour would set out its conclusions on the BBC's future funding arrangements in a white paper later this year. I can't stand the BBC. The BBC didn't even bother to read about taking advertising, didn't even bother to consider about a subscription. They just went, no, that's not going to work for us. We want this now. Typical. This is what we've got to deal with in Britain today. We have to deal with people, and the BBC, I've said it before, are ignorant. They will not move with the times, and they know, Ian, that if they went to a subscription service, they wouldn't get that many subscribers from the United Kingdom.
No, they'd realise, but they may get additional income more than they expect from foreign people that watch it anyway from abroad. So, they don't know how much money they would get, because people are being able to access via VPNs whenever they feel like it from around the world. And they shouldn't be able to do that because we're paying for their privilege. But I mean, I remember, back in the 1980s, there were conversations about whether or not the BBC should take advertising to reduce the license fee or to get rid of it. And the BBC's argument was always that it would impact the other channels because there would be a smaller pool of advertising to be had. Therefore, standards would drop across the board. Now, the thing is, since then, we've had satellite broadcasting, which feeds off the same pool of potential advertisers. And now we've got all these smaller channels as well. And you know what? They're doing just fine, thank you very much. So that argument has never held water. But I mean, it's about the BBC, isn't it? They shouldn't be allowed to reject anything. It's almost like they're in charge of the conversation, and they're not. They're the subject of the conversation. And if it seems that subscription and or because they could do both, subscription and or advertising is the way, then suck it up, buttercup, because that's the way that it has to go. But the BBC seem to think that they have this right to decide, and they really shouldn't have that right at all, really.
I don't think so either. But the fact is, as well, we're also dealing with a Labour government that thinks the sun shines out of the arse of the BBC, and it doesn't. And because they're all very
aligned, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And because they're all very left, Lisa Nandy, ho, 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 and the Labour government, he, are basically, and it doesn't matter who's in charge of the Labour government because they're all as bad as each other. We've probably got the best of a bad deal as a Prime Minister right now, even though we all can't stand him. Because look at who else is coming up to try and stab him in the back. They are lunatics, a lot of them. We are in much more danger with them as we are with him, in my opinion. But we've got all this coming up with the BBC. And for them to just dismiss advertising, I think that's just pure snobbery, who viewers. I've said it before, it's pure snobbery. We wouldn't care because everybody else is watching channels, including now the Tube of Who, which has adverts on constantly. I mean, you get on with it. You know, I've just had one come up here on my monitor through the show. There's another advert that's coming up. So, you know, we wouldn't care if the BBC take advertising. They do because they're snobbish. They are snobbish.
They could do a two-tier because, let's face it, they're aligned with the government, so they'd like something that's two-tier, wouldn't they? But they could do a two-tier subscription where they don't see advertising.
I think it's absolutely outrageous. If you've got Netflix, you are paying for Netflix. If you have got Amazon Prime, you are paying for Amazon Prime. If you've got Sky, you're paying for Sky. And you've still got to have the television license. So for them to say, oh, Netflix, we've lost the sport now as the BBC, but because it comes under live television, even if it's on somebody that's broadcasting not even from within the United Kingdom, you have to pay it, is an absolute outrage. Who the hell do they think they are? Just get rid of them. I mean, why on earth people are paying for, in my opinion, I don't understand why people are still paying for a television license with the crap that they are producing. It's all soap opera and reality television shows, you know. And let's just remember, everything they make now is not even produced by the BBC. It's made by a third party, an independent party, isn't it? Yeah, you know, I don't get it, and I can't stand the BBC for not even looking at this.
No,
you know?
I detest them. I really do. They've long outlived their purpose. They've outlived their purpose. There's far too many other channels and broadcasters out there that do that job and do it better. It's like we're being forced to pay to keep something on life support, and all it does is insult us.
The whole of the United Kingdom, a lot of whom have cancelled their TV license now and don't watch their services for the very reason they've woken up, like a lot of us in the chat are. Let's go into the chat. I just wanted to point out as well that GB News, with whom I took that story from their website this week became the #1 channel for news information because of its 24-hour coverage as to what was going on with Herr Starmer in number 10, right? It was all there. It was all, and they've been quite rightly correct. Now we have to remember that a year and 5 or 6 months before GB News took off, the BBC tried to shut it down by calling it far right. It was the BBC people that started the rumor, and some people in the United Kingdom have got on board with that because they won't go and do it. If you look at it, it's full of left-wing numpties. I'm always throwing cabbages at them. You know, just say, shut up. You know, what are you talking about? That Matthew, what's his name? Anyway, let's get into the chat. Editorial comment. William. Hello, William Orlock. The only way they can keep the license is by raising their standards. It's not going to happen, though.
No.
Matt Henspiel is saying the Labour and the BBC, they can F right off. I think there are now proven to be millions of us that think that after the elections and the rally yesterday. Dark Hall, nice to see you. Big brother control. That's what somebody else said to me this week, Dark Hall, a mate of mine. He said that. Bill Lowry, I get Netflix with my Sky subscription. I'm trying to find out if Sky will remove Netflix for those of us who won't have the license. I'm looking forward to how Netflix will respond. I can't see Netflix or Amazon Prime buying into this or allowing it because they will lose subscribers. They will lose people who are paying for their service. How many people, Ian, will say, I have to have a TV listen, I have to pay the BBC? No.
Well, no. I mean, they'll be saying, Amazon and Netflix will be sitting down and saying, right, if we go with this, if we take it lying down, if we don't do legal challenges right now, all our subscribers in the UK that don't have a TV license, that legally don't have a TV license, they're going to have to pay another 180 quid or whatever it is now just to carry on watching us, and they won't get anything more for it. And there's a good chance they're going to say, screw this, and ditch the subscription, which will impact them. And that's not, it wouldn't happen anywhere else. It wouldn't happen in America because it's a free market, isn't it? It wouldn't happen. Exactly. It wouldn't be allowed.
But when you look at it, the American TV market is light years ahead of where the United Kingdom market is. We are now trying to catch up. And for the last, 20, 25 years, British television has really tried to catch up as to where America is. We're not even halfway to where America was. We are probably now in 2026 where America was in 1950, 1960, something like that, And our television is crap. Do you know, I was saying to my mother the other day, and my grandfather, bless him, I remember him years ago when we had 3 channels, and he was a big Corrie fan, my grandfather. Every Monday and Wednesday he was there, right?
Yeah.
And he would babysit us when my mother was working. So he would come round, and I remember him flicking between 3 channels saying there's nothing on. And in the conversation that happened with a 12-year-old me, he said, one of these days you're going to have, pointing at me, you're going to have hundreds of channels and there'll be bugger all on each one of them. And he was bloody right. He was absolutely right. In fact, I was watching some of the shows that he would have watched the other day, like Hilda Baker and all this sort of stuff.
All right, yeah.
Dearest and Dearest and all that.
Yeah.
Let's get back into the chat. Lots of you with us. Great to see you all. Listen, I'm going to say again, please make sure you're all subscribed. And unfortunately, according to the people that know at the Tube of Who, you're going to have to keep looking to see if you're subscribed. Because I've been on the sort of chat with them this week to say, why are the subscriptions going up and down and up and down and up and down through the week? And why do the views go up and down and up and down and up and down? And basically, they've given me a load of waffle. So they say, your subscribers may forget to watch. Your subscribers may forget that or unsubscribe to you by accident. So keep it going, everybody. Make sure that you're still subscribed. Funky is saying to us that Black Belt Barrister talks about this, and he was seething. I'm not surprised. I like him. You guys got me onto him a wee while ago now, and I've been watching his shows and catch up. He's brilliant. He's also easy on the eye, which is always good for me. And he's just brilliant, isn't he? He's a lawyer. He knows what he's doing. And he's not intimidated by anything, and he's so good in his delivery. So I want to thank you all in the chat for.
And he doesn't give. He makes it very clear that he's not giving legal advice. He's stating what the law says and what it means, and where there's been overreach. And he's very, very good. He's good.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Drex is saying to us that this government is just take. Oh God, and honestly. If people don't call for a general election soon, i.e. this year, we are absolutely screwed in the next 3 years. They've got no matter who is in the chair. It doesn't matter because they're all as bad as each other. They will just squeeze us dry because they hate Britain and they hate democracy. It's very obvious.
I don't know. I mean, I know they will, obviously, because they're all hypocrites, aren't they? But when it was Liz Truss and then Rishi Sunak, you had Rayner, you had Starmer, you had all the senior Labour lot all saying they've got no mandate. You can't go changing PMs. There should be a general election. It's the right thing to do for the British people. So if Starmer is usurped, I expect them to stick to their word and hold a general election straight away.
We all do, I think.
Oh, well, they won't.
No, because they are power crazy. They're dictators. And I've been saying, it wouldn't surprise me if, when the next election comes about, they try to do something to say, we can't have the election this year because this has happened and this has happened. We'll have it next year. And they become the Palpatines from Star Wars in our real life. The power never leaves them because they now know, thanks to the council elections we just had, they are out.
They're gone.
And they will never get back in. This is it. This is Labour dead now after whatever, 100 years or whatever. This is them gone. And I'm not sorry to see them go after what they've done.
Same with the Tories, JT, as well. I saw that they Reform won one particular council, as they seem to do with many. And the Tories entered a coalition with the Greens to keep them out.
Oh, and he's been suspended, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, but the fact that they even thought that was okay to do, the people have elected a particular group to lead, and they're basically saying, well, we don't care about your democratic vote. We're going to go with them and them. I wouldn't mind. The Greens are far left and the Tories are supposed to be right wing, and they're politically opposite. They cannot form any kind of alliance, but here we are.
Let me just put that in context as well for people who might not know. It was one particular Tory and one particular council who approached them and did it without the approval of Kemi Badenoch's team. When she found out, apparently, allegedly, she went mental and she suspended him, and that coalition fell to bits, or is being investigated, or whatever it is, because they shouldn't have done that. That was absolutely disgraceful.
Shocking.
Jess Corbyn is saying to us, let us not forget the BBC is pro the BBC Royal Charter. It's the constitutional foundation that establishes the BBC as a public service broadcaster by Royal Charter until December the 31st, 2027. Yes, it is. However, they are supposed to live up to certain things, which the BBC says it does, but it obviously doesn't, because it's alienated millions of people in the United Kingdom. Matt Enspiel is saying, so I have Amazon Prime Video as a default from paying for Prime delivery. Why should I pay? That's why Amazon, who are incredibly powerful, have to tell the government no. And they can always say, in that case, then, we're pulling out of Britain, which this government wouldn't understand the implications of that because they've got no business sense at all. They don't know what it means. But that's bad. That's bad news, whether we like them or not. Peter Harrington is saying, explain live. Exactly, because now on the Tube of Who, the BBC's 50 channels all say it's live, which means, and I'll say it again, if you see the Doctor Who channel and it's got the live tag on it and you do not have a BBC television license, you cannot click on it. Do not click on it. Okay? Because you're supposed to have a television license. Explain live, Pete Harrington, they never have. From me, it means something that's being broadcast at that time.
But they don't want to, do they? Because they'd then be held to that. If there was ever a legal dispute, they would be held to their definition of live, which is why they want to keep it wishy-washy. They want to keep people in a position of doubt.
They bend the rules all the time, Ian.
Yeah.
And they can't. This is why they get themselves in a mess. Another form of taxation, the thieving bandits, says Julianne. We know it, don't we? Lex is saying to us, BBC, your days are numbered. Time for you to close up shop. Here. I totally agree. And hello to Cool Boy's Backyard. Nice to see you. Who's saying that Rick Mail was the greatest doctor we never had, bless him. Yeah, totally agree. Nice to see you, Cool Boy's Backyard. Derek Hart is saying Netflix and co should tell BBC and government to get stuffed. It's not going to happen. They absolutely have to. They have to stand up for us as British people. And they have to put their business first, which I'm hoping and praying that they will as business people, because they know full well they will lose a lot of business in the UK, because I think the British public will say, well, in that case, then cancel Netflix and cancel Amazon. Just like a lot of people have done with Sky. Digby is saying to us, the BBC want to expand into areas they have been kept out of. They're an empire, not an innovator. It's all about that, isn't it? It is. They're absolutely shocking what they want. Matt Enspiel saying to us, get Labour out, Reform or Restore will be on for a massive winner by redacting that law. It's all going to happen again for those of you outside the UK. In the next couple of months, we've got another very important now by-election in one of the most minuscule places in Manchester you could possibly see coming. It's absolute. It's not politics. It's disgusting behaviour. It's absolute. Career politicians have been the death knell of our beautiful country. They don't give a toss about the people of Britain or the country. It's about them. All you have to do is look at any of their ex accounts. It's about them. Although I will say, I do quite like Kemi Badenoch. She seems to care.
She seems to be stepping up to the plate a little bit after a very slow start, and it was certainly needed. But I think one of the reasons that you see the BBC particularly attacking people like Farage now, because Farage got that gift, didn't he, of 5 million.
They're terrified of him, aren't they?
He says it's for his security, which, as he was the most attacked person in the general election last year, a couple of years ago, I think he needs that security. But they know at the BBC, if Reform get in, the licence fee's gone. They know that.
Yeah, that's true. And why everybody's, I don't understand why people are terrified of that man. I have no clue. I have no clue. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Old Labour died 32 years ago, said Synth John. You're right. You're right. It started to die with hindsight that I now have at my great age with Blair. And forgive me, I helped put him there.
When John Smith died, I think.
Oh, John Smith. Let's not talk about that. It's heartbreaking. The Britain would have been flourishing if John Smith had been alive.
He was a fundamentally decent man, and I think that's the last time Labour's ever had a decent person in their upper echelons.
His policies were superb, and I think it's because we lost John Smith that I still voted Labour, because Blair came along after that, didn't he? Because he was second or something, wasn't he?
Yeah.
John Smith, a great loss to the United Kingdom. Had he lived, this country would not be in the toilet it is in now. Philip Tassini is saying, I'll be cancelling my licence. How dare they? And the, bleep, 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 says Philip. Absolutely. Hartnell's Ghost. Hello, mate. Remember the BBC no adverts narrative? Our BBC is stuffed with adverts for other BBC programmes. I think it's pure snobbishness why they cannot They cannot put advertising on. It would solve everybody's problems, including theirs, because they get more money in from advertising.
Yeah, they would. It's the only reason that they don't see it is it's not that they can't see it, it's that they won't see it because they don't want to. It's easier to force us to pay. The fact that in 2026 you could go to prison for watching television is insanity.
And there are still people in prison for that as well, because they haven't done their sentence yet. Because nobody's bothered to review who's in there. They're always going on, aren't they, about the prisons are overcrowded, but they don't do a review to say, well, why is all these people in here? What do you mean he paid it or she didn't pay the TV license? Get them out. What do you mean that's a social media tweet? Get them out. You know, and let's put the people who deserve to be in there then, shall we? The people that are taking people's lives away, etc., etc. Let's put them in the prison, or better still, send them home. Where they can do the time where they come from. The BBC are owned by us, says Pete Harrington. They have forgotten they are custodians. That's because they're now full of far left activists who look down on us. We know that because we had a member of the BBC who had left. We've got another whistleblower coming up in just a second for you. And they said that they were in meetings where people in the BBC were saying the British public were being looked down on, and they had to be preached to. They had to be told how to think. That's today's alleged British Broadcasting Corporation. So thank you for that, Pete. We've also got Cool Boys Backyard again saying to us, BBC still spending stupid amounts of money on the Eurovision, a contest in which we end up finishing with nil points. I think we got 1 point last night, didn't we? I think it was 1 point last night with that bloody awful entry. But I think, again, yes, cut the Eurovision. No one's watching it. It got the lower figures, as we said before. It's got lower figures this year than it did last year. Stephen O'Neill is saying the only reason I have a TV license is for the Rugby League, which is shown live on the BBC, and the FIFA World Cup finals that they are exclusively on the BBC and ITV. Fair enough. If you think that's justifying your 100 and something pound a month, that's absolutely fine. If you're using it, you've got to have it. It's the law.
But if you were just watching sport on ITV and not watching anything on BBC, the fact that you would still have to pay the BBC to watch ITV is obscene. Yeah.
Let's get through these chats. Rick Storm saying, I'm not paying. I've already given up all subscriptions. I only watch YouTube at the minute and physical media, but the BBC are coming for that as well. Don't forget to stay with us. We've touched on it before here on Headlines. They're on the way after that too. Dystopian Night, and they've got that partnership now with this platform. That's, you know, where that's leading. Don't forget that George Orwell, says Dystopian Nightmare, once worked for the BBC and had an awareness of some of their covert involvement in politics. The good point. It's a good point.
And don't forget the Director General's ex-Google.
Yeah. What else we got here? Oh, lots of you in the chat. Thank you very much for being everything for all this. Coalitions should be outlawed, says Problem Being. Gosh. Hello to, let's do this. This is Mischief 23. Bring back Neil Kinnock. He was an all right Prime Minister. Well, he never was Prime Minister. That was the problem, Mischief. He was a decent bloke, but he couldn't take on you-know-who properly. But the banter between those two was incredible. Yeah. That was politics. That was all about politics. It was never about the individuals, what they thought of each other. It was always the politics. There wasn't any showbiz to it. But he was a decent bloke. But as I say, he just didn't have enough to break you-know-who. She was far stronger than he was.
He certainly made a mint working for the EU, as did his wife afterwards. He was seen all right, though. He did join the gravy train, didn't he? But I remember when he was Labour Party leader, he went for a stroll down one of the beaches where the party conference was on with his missus for a photo op, and he tripped and fell in the surf, so he got absolutely drenched. And then the following day, there was one of those newspaper cartoons, and there he was on his arse in the surf. And Maggie Thatcher's further out to sea, walking on water, laughing at him. It was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Oh, happy days, I tell you. Right, what have we got else here? We've got Phil Roy saying to us, I don't watch broadcast TV now. Instead, I troll through charity shops, finding good drama series, films and comedy on DVD. I'd rather spend the time I have watching the cream of the crop from years gone by. I'm the same with you, Phil. I'm right there. I am discovering a load of episodes of shows that I missed in the 90s because I was too busy having a life and going out clubbing and working all the time. Mark A. Wright says, this government seems to have an obsession with making us all pay for things we don't want or need in our society. Yeah. That's very, very true. Very, very true. Lots of you.
They'll make us pay to see Phil's Doctor Who film soon. You watch.
Yeah. Lex, thank you for your super chat. There's a Labour guy called Barry who's on GB News who called Starmer deaf this week on GB News. Yeah, the Labour guys on and I've watched a lot of them this week, not just on GB News, but on some of the other alternative channels. They are desperate this week. They are absolutely. They have just seen their world crumble over the last couple of weeks, and it's been a massive slap in the face to them. And it's
glorious,
isn't it? Absolute joy. Yes.
I think that's Barry Gardner. Funded allegedly by China. There you go.
Yeah. John Mason, allegedly. Yeah. John Mason is telling us that the BBC TV license fee £180. £180 a year.
Not worth 180 pins.
I don't know. Yeah, thanks, Barry. It is John, it is Barry Gardner. Yeah. Thank you, mate. Thank you for that. And reviews for Ransom Religion. It's good to see you. The law should be here to protect us. How is the license protecting us in any way? This rubbish should not be law. The license has had its day. It's as simple as that. It's got to go. It's got to go. There are so many problems in the BBC, though, Who viewers, as we all know. If you live in Britain, we all know this. Every other day, there seems to be a story about the BBC. Only today, another one has emerged. Allow me to please introduce to you Fran Unsworth, who is an ex-BBC chief at BBC News. As you can see there, she was the director of BBC News from 2018 to 2022. You're going to love this because this backs up an awful lot of the stuff that we've been saying on this channel since 2023. BBC News boss, I was driven out by trans activism. Fran Unsworth says she was bullied by gender ideologies employed by the BBC. Let's get into the story. A former BBC News boss has claimed she was driven out of the top job by trans activists. Fran Unsworth, the director of BBC News from 2018 to 2022, said she had been bullied out of the role by gender ideologies employed by the corporation. Speaking for the first time since leaving the BBC, Ms. Unsworth said, I would actually say it drove me out. Just dealing with the progressive editorial issues and the bullying around them all, it was incredibly difficult. In an interview with her former colleague Rob Burley, published by Unheard, Ms. Unsworth said BBC News had become increasingly unmanageable during her tenure. It was bullying, she said, but it wasn't just the trans issue. There was lots and lots of bullying going on about all sorts of things. People didn't want to hear from certain points of view. They'd no platform. It was all safe space. And then she says the S word. Critics have pointed to the BBC's decision to remain in Stonewall's diversity champion scheme until November 2021, despite mounting impartiality concerns as evidence of ideological capture during this time. Ms. Unsworth suggested that programme editors had avoided critical reporting on trans issues for fear of being attacked by their own colleagues. She claimed that news reporters came under an awful lot of pressure from other parts of the BBC if they felt that the editorial direction of the story was not supporting their particular point of view on it. She said maintaining impartiality became quite difficult for the news division, giving pressure from BBC staff in drama and entertainment to adopt what she described as mono perspective on trans issues. However, problems with the BBC's coverage of trans issues continued after Miss Unsworth's departure. Last year, The Telegraph published a leaked memo from Michael Prescott, the corporation's editorial standards advisor, in which he claimed its trans coverage had been subject to effective censorship by specialist LGBTQ plus reporters. Now, as Matt Britton, the former Google executive, prepares to take up the post of Director General next week, Ms. Unsworth has sought to explain her own record on the issue. She said the BBC's problems at the time had reflected the progressive madness engulfing other institutions. This wasn't something that just affected the BBC, she said. The world went mad, and the BBC, because it is part of the world, went mad with it. This was going on in every institution in society. There was a kind of national bullying going on. In the interview, Ms. Unsworth defended herself against accusations that she had capitulated to the demands of trans activists at BBC News. I don't feel like I completely caved, she told Mr. Burley. I really don't. But I do think that I could have done something more robust. The BBC needed to be better than that. Ms. Unsworth's tenure saw the creation of the LGBT plus correspondent post in December 2018. Years later, Mr. Prescott accused the specialist desk coverage used across BBC News programmes of promoting a pro-trans agenda and keeping other perspectives off air. Just remember what happened in 2023 with Doctor Who. Even when the BBC sought to balance its coverage of trans issues, including through the Nolan Investigates podcast on Stonewall's influence, the corporation under Ms. Unsworth and Mr. Davey was accused of kowtowing to pressure from trans activists. In leaked audio from an internal meeting in November 2021, after weeks of criticism over its transgender coverage, the then Director General told staff, "It is a serious issue if the BBC is perceived as transphobic." At the same meeting, Ms. Unsworth reportedly said, "We need to be hearing from trans people as part of our coverage, probably to a far greater extent than we do." The former BBC News director claimed that editorial decision-making in the BBC isn't top-down. She added, "It's about editors deciding what they want to put on their programmes, and one of the big factors in it is because they took so much heat whenever they went near this subject." But when Mr. Burley put to her that, in fact, some of the editorial line on gender had come from BBC News editors' own views, she conceded that this was true. While Ms. Unsworth rejected claims that Stonewall had directly influenced editorial output, she said the charity's gender-affirmative ideology had become pervasive and was creating problems for reporters. "Nobody ever said to me as a director of news, 'You need to get points in the Stonewall League table,'" she said. But she acknowledged that there was a sea in which we all swam, an atmosphere. We need to be kind to transitioning people. It's a social phenomenon. And I think this "be kind" thing was at the heart of it. When asked, "Do you think that's a problem journalistically?" she responded, "I do. Yes, I do." However, Ms. Unsworth claimed that one reason why the trans issue wasn't gripped during her time at the helm of BBC News was that the core facts of the issue were themselves disputed. She claimed impartiality only operates when you can look at evidence and facts and point to them as the basis of your reporting on this. And the facts at this point were incredibly disputed. Ms. Unsworth added that the turning point had been last April when the Supreme Court made clear that a woman, for the purposes of the Equality Act, meant a biological woman. She claimed that the ruling in For Women Scotland versus the Scottish Ministers provided journalists with the basis of challenge against those who insisted that men could decide to be women. She pointed out that, until the Supreme Court ruling on it, Keir Starmer himself was also saying that trans women are women, which is absolutely true. Claire Cuttenhoe, the Shadow Equalities Minister, said, "Fran Unsworth has said out loud what many viewers already suspected. On sex-based rights, only one opinion was tolerated. Our national broadcaster should never put ideological activism ahead of facts. The BBC must reflect the whole country and deal in facts and not promote a contested worldview." A BBC spokesman said, "BBC News has taken a number of actions relating to our reporting of sex and gender, including updating the News Style Guide and sharing new guidance, making our social affairs editor responsible for this coverage. And where there have been concerns about particular stories, we have addressed them. We continually review our coverage to reflect developments such as the Supreme Court ruling. Regarding the BBC's decision not to renew its participation in the Stonewall Diversity Champions programme in 2021, a spokesman acknowledged at the time that the corporation's involvement with the scheme had led some to question whether the BBC can be impartial when reporting on public policy debates where Stonewall is taking an active role." So the BBC in more mess there, and it just shows as well what we were saying all this time. It was absolutely in there. The whole TQ cult is within everything, including our beloved BBC. And that's why we've got all this crap going on. It was inserted into Doctor Who how many times? I don't know, but definitely in 2023. And we've also got all that pronoun nonsense and all that sort of stuff. We've got all this drag queen nonsense, and drag queens are not usually transgender. It's a bloke in a bloody frock. You've got all this trans issues in the news. You've got trans people put into shows where they don't necessarily need. There's a drag queen on everything. I was not surprised, and good for Fran Unsworth for coming out and saying this to her ex-colleague for unheard, and then it was picked up by the mainstream press today. Good for her, Ian, I say.
The only thing that I would sort of like question on that is that on one of those pages that you were reading from, in that BBC meeting where there'd been a recording of it had leaked, she was saying that people speaking about trans issues should be heard more, which to me would suggest that's making the situation she's complaining about worse.
Yeah.
Because they were the only voice anyway. Why do you want to hear more of it?
What comes to me at that point is she's bending the knee to all the people that are around her. She's going with the, because remember, I've got experience of this, and I've also got friends who've had experiences, and a lot of you will in the chat as well. The thing is, it's very difficult to go against a load of people that turn around and call you names and label you and badge you.
Yeah.
You know, because you know the truth, you know the reality. But the tide is turning on that now, and people are getting brave now. And the more people that do get brave, the better. If our BBC had only one question to ask its licence fee payers, could that question be, "Are you being served?" says Hartnell's ghost. And Ms. Chiff is with us saying, the Telegraph is obsessed. They moaned about a BBC story about a trans wrestler. It's wrestling, for crying out loud. I'm going to agree to disagree with you. It's not just wrestling. If a trans woman is boxing or wrestling with a woman, that is a man against a woman, and the trans woman, because he is a man, is going to win. He could also, because he is stronger and faster than a woman, hurt her in some way, like we saw with that idiot boxer who went on to win all these things because he was claiming he was a woman. So I'm going to disagree with Ms. Chiff, and you're very, very welcome to Whose Views to be. I mean, this channel is not all about an echo chamber, but it's not just wrestling. Trans women in any sport should not be in with women because they're men. It's a fact, and that's my belief. As a gay man, I can tell you, I know that a trans man is a woman with a vagina, and imposing her onto me is heterosexuality and therefore homophobic. So though it's a kind of, it's not about what people feel, it's not about what they think, it's about the reality. And we are slowly now, thankfully in our country, getting back to reality, which is why we are seeing the destruction in very slow terms of the far left.
Isn't it disturbing though how globally certain insanities can just be imposed just out of nowhere? They just nowhere. It goes somewhere and everybody has to comply or else, you know, because people were threatened with prison, weren't they, if they didn't bend the knee? You know, it was seen as a hate crime, wasn't it? And there were people threatened with being locked. I don't know if anybody was locked up, but I know people were certainly threatened with it.
Yeah, and you're right, it's all come from, and certainly Stonewall, which was an LGB charity and is now a TQ cult charity. And actually, they started this whole thing. No debate. Trans women are women, trans men are men. No debate. Yes, 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 there has to be a debate because you've just pushed a whole load of homophobia, which is still around today. Stonewall and the TQ cult were responsible for the rise of homophobia. You know, and I'm so glad that Stonewall that close to getting closed down.
Yeah.
Interesting point from Frankie here with us, Ian, that said that she was behind the live coverage of the Cliff Richard arrest and she was in charge of BBC News. I have no sympathy for her, don't get me wrong. She worked for the BBC. I say yes, she's brave for coming out now because I think she is, but don't get me wrong, I will never forgive the BBC for what they did to Cliff Richard. I mean, that man aged decades overnight because of what they put him through, because they wanted the scoop. It's like certain YouTubers, isn't it? Oh, we've got to get the scoop. We'll lie about something, or we'll do a headline or something like that. Or we'll make ourselves them. We'll get the views. We'll get the views. We'll get the views. No.
We'll say we've got a source. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, all that nonsense, whatever it's going to be. No. So, Frankie, thanks for pointing that out. Don't think I'm forgiving her, because I'm not. But I don't forgive very easily, as a lot of people will be able to tell you. Mark A. Wright is saying, I think most people would gladly pay the license fee if it were the BBC of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I think you're right, Mark. If the news was trustworthy and if the programs were good quality, then I would probably go back to the BBC and have a license. But I don't think it's ever going to happen. Cowboy's Backyard, if it's like today's age, you can't refer to anyone as he or she anymore. Try and stop me. I don't live in bloody Australia.
Oh dear.
And to all our Who viewers in Australia, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. What have you done by voting in a load of lunatics? You're nearly as bad as we are here. Honestly, how can they do that? How can they turn their back on women by saying what is obviously a big, fat, ugly, retarded man is a woman? What? Somebody grab that judge and slap them with a handbag. Honest to God. Remember when a drag race involved cars, says Funky?
Yes. And it used to be on World of Sport with Dickie Davis.
Dickie Davis, yeah.
Yeah.
But wrestling is scripted, says Mischief. It doesn't matter to me. A man should still not be wrestling with a woman. What happens if he gets aroused? And let's face it, the majority of transgender women are heterosexual men. No, it's not right. Women should be left alone. And men should be, we should have our own spaces. If you are a trans man, you are a woman. If you are a trans woman, you are a man, usually heterosexual. Hashtag LGB without the TQ. I'm not standing any of it. It's nonsense. La 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 la. What else we got here? A lot of you in the chat with us. Thank you for joining us. Am I implying, says Hartnell's Ghost, that Mrs. Brown is a bloke in a bloody dress? Wow, every day's a school day. I'm sorry to break it to you, Hartnell's Ghost. He's a very nice man, though. I actually met him very quickly several years ago when the whole Mrs. Brown's phenomena was just taking off. And I'm very surprised that Brendan is still doing these specials at Christmas and churning it out. I know he made a lot of money from it, Ian, but he seemed to be a very clever guy who could have done several other series.
I'd seen him in a couple of things. I remember him as a security guard that got helped Max and Paddy on their Max and Paddy's Road to Nowhere with Peter Kay when they nicked a big TV screen from a supermarket and he helped them through it. And he got tossed over the edge and he fell and broke his leg. I mean, he was quite funny there, was Brendan, but he does tend to get very repetitive and therefore very dull and come across.
I get the feeling Ian, he's just taken the money and run,
yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he had a lot of money from the success of the show originally in its home of Ireland. I don't know. I just think he's a clever guy, and I think he could have written several other things for him. But he seems to be stuck with this one character, and it's not very well appreciated in the United Kingdom now either. I think the day for it is over. Scott Andrew Brass is also stunned by the fact that Mrs. Brown is a man. I know it's shocking, isn't it? Pete Harrington is saying Mrs. Brown was always on the Liverpool Empire. It was a huge draw. It was, but I don't think it's so much now, is it, Pete? We used to go on tours around the country. I hardly see it around there now. And Drex is saying to us, I find that I withdraw myself from society each day. It seems impossible to live in a common sense world these days.
Yeah.
Drex, I know what you're saying about that. There are times when I have to come away from social media for a couple of days as well, because it's just mental. It's just absolutely mental. But I do feel that the ship is turning, even though it's very slow. And we've got to keep up. We've got to keep up with common sense. Common sense is a British value, and we cannot allow it to go down the toilet. We just cannot allow it. And I'm terrified that it is halfway down now, but we've got to keep it going. And if you have kids out there, get them into British common sense, for heaven's sake. Lex Kane for a super chat. He-Man Planet theme tune is fantastic with Brian May. Yeah, you can get that on the Tube of Who now if you haven't heard the new Masters of the Universe theme tune. Space Peninsula is saying to us, would have been great for Fran to speak up at the time. I get they can be intimidating, but it seems like she's speaking up now because the tide is turning. I got that feeling as well, Space Peninsula, and it's very easy, but every little helps.
Yeah.
Every little helps. And the BBC would not have liked talking about this, but more and more have to, even if they're in there now. It's terrifying for them if they're in there now, because they say one thing. I know this for a fact. I know this for a fact. If anybody working in the BBC says anything wrong or something is traced back to somebody, their life is made hell. So I understand why they've got to be careful.
Yeah.
Steve Braddock is saying to us, I'm living more in the past each day. Yeah. Rick Storm, common sense would be to stop watching live broadcast television altogether and stop funding the BBC. But hey, the day will come, Rick. I swear to you, the day is on the way where somebody somewhere, as Ian said if a particular party gets in next, and the likelihood, as we're broadcasting to you on the 17th of May 2026, is that they will, the BBC is dead. Donkeys. It really is. It's gone. It's gone because they won't tolerate it, and it'll be done within a year. No,
they won't muck around. They won't muck around. If they get rid of the BBC or make them go subscription and that's the end of it, and they sack off the TV license, and they do that in the first year, they've got 4 more years of people to think, yeah, I like this. Any other government coming in after that will not be able to reintroduce it. It just wouldn't. They wouldn't be able to do it.
No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. And they'll fight tooth and nail. They'll fight to keep the TV license fee going, I tell you. Sheriff Brackett, good to see you. I've been discovering scores of British shows from the 70s through to the 90s recently, myself included with that one, mate. Comedies, science fiction and dramas, all so much better than most of what's being produced these days. That's because the BBC did turn out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of good quality shows back in the day.
Yeah.
But they've lost it all now, haven't they? They've lost it all. They've lost the plot. Hello, Rocking Terry Lee, who's joining us from Nashville, Tennessee. Hope all is going great for everyone. Oh, I'm so impressed by that, Rocking Terry Lee. I've just recently, Terry, watched a television show, not live, I have to say, where a gay icon here in the United Kingdom right now called Jane McDonald was visiting Nashville, Tennessee to record her latest album. And she went shopping and everything like that. And it's just camp. It's just one of them. Jane McDonald's a big gay icon here in the UK. She started on the ships, singing on ships, and then she got noticed by a reality television show. Then she became huge. And now she's traveling the world singing. Stuff like that. I love her. I think she's fabulous. And she's a good northern lass. She's a good northern lass.
She is Yorkshire. She is from Yorkshire. Yeah. Not North Yorkshire, but nobody's perfect. But yes, she is from Yorkshire. Yeah.
And she's very funny as well. And she plays on that. She meets all these people from around the world and she says, "Hey lass, how are you, love? You're all right. Let's have a drink here." I like her. I think she's funny.
Yeah. She is very down to earth.
Yeah, Rocking Terry Lee saying, "I'll check it out. It's good fun because you'll be able to see some of the shops that are around you." Because she goes and gets the hat and she goes and gets the shoe, the cowboy boots and the belt and the glitzy. There's a guy from Yorkshire in Nashville that has a shop where you can get all the glitzy jackets and stuff like that. So she went there. So he's on the show. You can probably get on the Tube of Who by now. Jane McDonald, MacDonald.
Is it Jane with a Y? Is it Jane with a Y?
No.
It's just Jane.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Right, okay. Pete Harrington's reminded me of that. Victoria Wood, God love her, did a brilliant take on her, Jane McDonald. That's right, she did, didn't she? The Fitbit and all that sort of stuff. It was fun. No, singing and everything. Yeah, fabulous. You're watching Who's Views. This is Headlines. It's your big show. It's Sunday. It's good to see you all. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you're not new to the channel, please make sure you are still subscribed. We've just been talking there about the news that broke today that from Unheard, that Fran Unsworth, ex-BBC chief for BBC News, was complaining about the trans ideologies within the BBC, basically curtailing her job. Lots of comments from you about that as well. Lots of comments. So thank you all for that, everybody. Yeah, Phil, you're right. Yeah, Jane McDonald started on the ships. Her first singing gig was on the Bounty. They mutinied, I believe. How dare you? Don't you dare be very rude about our Jane Phillip. JT's going on a tangent, said Funky. I know I was there, wasn't I? It was very... Oh, I do like her, though. She's got a new album out now, everybody. Look it up. Okay, so we'll move on. Thank you for your chat there. We're going to get to another big story for Doctor Who this week. And the reason that we always talk about the BBC stuff, of course, is because the BBC Studios own Doctor Who. The BBC have always said they will screen Doctor Who, rather. Will things change in the future? I think they will. Because BBC Studios now owns Doctor Who, and they produce Doctor Who, it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be shown on BBC One. I think in the future, things will look very, very different. And they're always going on about streaming partners, aren't they?
They are.
Always going on about streaming partners. The most important thing now for BBC Studios is to find a streaming partner, even though they actually have their own equivalent of a streaming channel on the BBC iPlayer.
It's bizarre, isn't it?
Many times they can just charge for, if you are outside of the UK, and put any new episodes, as well as all the other stuff of over 100 years worth of programming from the BBC and radio shows out there and earn money from.
Yeah. They go on about streaming so much and streaming partners so much whilst avoiding the move to being a streamer.
Exactly.
Crazy.
How crazy is it? You've got BBC Studios who are trying to move haphazardly into, well, actually, it's not even the future now, because it's past, the streaming bubble has been and gone.
Yeah.
So they're playing very much catch up. And they've got to have this elusive BBC partner. And just this week, of course, Doctor Who fandom, some of them got so excited about the news that a channel called AMC will be streaming Doctor Who from June the 11th. Now, this news broke, of course, on the BBC Social and the BBC Doctor Who website. It was picked up by numerous people afterwards. This is going to be a good discussion, everybody, because I have to tell you, I had never even heard of AMC Plus. Now, in Britain, we don't have this. So this is obviously for the American market, Ian, because we have AMC cinemas.
Yeah, I've never heard of them. Never heard of them at all. Completely new one on me. And I'd imagine, I need somebody in America to tell us. I don't even know how big they are. Are they a major player?
We've got a few in the chat. I'm going to come to you in the chat in a minute with all this as well. But this is this news. Now, what got me about this week was when this was announced on the BBC social media and the BBC website at the same time, I was amused by the fact that a lot of fans, and I have to say a lot of them were from out of the UK, immediately assumed this was the green light for a brand new series of Doctor Who with a brand new partner, and that AMC were effectively taking over from where Disney left off. And that amused me because I'd read the article. It's nothing to do with that at all. This is actually AMC's deal to stream from the 2005 series to the end of the Gatwa era in 2020, whatever it is, 2.
Interesting, Gatwa on that image, isn't it?
Yes, there it is. So basically they can screen Eccleston to Whittaker. That's it. Let's get into the story. I'm going to start with this piece from the Radio Times. Doctor Who confirmed for exclusive new streaming home in the United States, and the network is thrilled. Most of the modern era of Doctor Who is coming to AMC Plus this summer. The first 13 seasons of modern Doctor Who has found a new streaming home at AMC Plus in the US. It has been confirmed. Sharing the news, the official Doctor Who social media accounts wrote 13 seasons, 5 Doctors, Hours of Adventure. Doctor Who 2005 to 2022 comes to the AMC Plus from June the 11th in the US. It's important to note the deal doesn't include the classic 63 to 89 run, i.e. proper original Doctor Who. The BBC is not going to let that go. We've said that before on this channel. It also won't include the 60th anniversary specials or the latest 2 seasons of Doctor Who, which starred tuning out there and streamed exclusively on Disney Plus outside the UK. Doctor Who strengthens AMC Plus's position as a destination for premium genre storytelling, curated franchises defined by iconic worlds, passionate fan bases, and enduring cultural impact. Phew. Said Courtney Thomas Marr, Executive Vice President of AMC Global Media's linear and streaming products. What a job title. I mean, what the hell does that mean? We're thrilled to welcome the Whoniverse into our home of fandoms, giving long a reason to return while inviting new audiences to discover one of television's most beloved franchises. I seem to have heard that somewhere before. There is not going to be a new audience for this sort of stuff. You'd be very lucky, actually, because it's got access to the first 4 incarnations of the Doctor. It might pick up the odd straggler. It might not. I don't know. But while I remember, by the way, this is the subject for our poll this evening. And I'm going to ask you this right now, and you can start looking at this and voting for it. It's very, very simple. Will you be buying AMC in order to watch 2005 to 2022 Doctor Who? You can type 1 for yes and 2 for no in the chat now. Will you be buying AMC in order to watch 2005 to 2022 Doctor Who? That's the subject of our chat. This is an interesting subject, actually. Keep going on with that, everybody. I'm just going to take it off the screen, but keep going. It's open to you. 1 yes or 1 for no. Okay. No, 1 for yes, 2 for no. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yes or no, simple as that. It's an interesting conversation. And I just don't understand why a lot of fans were just getting into a lather about this week. We've got this from Collider. Doctor Who officially has a new streaming home. Now, this what their point was saying it was an exclusive, but at this point, I'd actually seen it on the BBC, so I don't really know if it was or not. It's been a difficult year for Doctor Who fans, but if they listen closely, they can hear the distinctive warps of the TARDIS growing ever louder. The revived Doctor Who series that ran from 2005 to 2022 has been unavailable to stream in the US for some time, but it's finally found a new streaming companion, and you won't have to travel into the future to watch it. It's hitting a new streaming service in less than a month. AMC Plus's offerings will not include the 26 seasons of the classic original series that ran from 63 to 89, and it will also not include the 60th anniversary specials or the Ncuti Gatwa series. I'm just going to curtail that very, very quickly. So that's what they were reporting on. So, I mean, it's very obvious, Ian, why they can't show the David Tennant specials or Ncuti Gatwa, because that Disney paid for. So this is the big question now, isn't it? Apart from the BBC, apart from in the United Kingdom, abroad is never ever going to have a complete series of Doctor Who anywhere to be shown, because the BBC will not allow 1963 to 89 to go without their permission, and I think they have the control of that. Correct me if I'm wrong, outside the UK viewers. Then you've got the modern series, which they can make a deal with up till the end of Whittaker, and then you're never going to get the Gatwa repeated or doing anything outside the UK because it's Disney's.
They've really fragmented it, haven't they? They've really made a mess of it. I mean, I had a quick look about AMC Plus. Just asked if they're a large streamer.
Yes,
and it says no, they're not. They're not considered a large streamer. Operates a mid-sized niche streaming bundle with around 10 million digital subscribers. So I presume they're in America. So America population, what, 250, 300 million. And they've got 10 million subscribers. That's not a lot. Whilst it doesn't boast, no, it doesn't boast the massive subscriber numbers or the sheer volume of content. It carves out a solid space in the market by prioritizing quality, apart from what it's just bought here. So I don't know. I can't see why anybody in America would want to subscribe to it. I don't know what they charge, but all you have to do is pay so much, not that we would recommend it, but everything. But we all know, all people do is buy a VPN, say that you're in Britain, and you've got everything from William Hartnell up to and including Gatwa on the iPlayer, and you can watch it to your heart's content. Why would you bother?
From Nashville, Rocking Terry Lee is telling us, I have AMC Plus and I won't stream New Who rubbish on my television. Matthew Pounder is saying, we're all fans. We have it all on physical media. Well, it depends what you call all. I mean, I only have up to the end of Capaldi and then I have nothing left. I have nothing, and I will never will. Nothing from Whittaker and nothing from Gatwa will ever hit my shelves. I can guarantee you that, Matthew. Not a chance am I buying into it because it was utter crap. Davey B is also saying to us, I've got the Blu-rays that I want. Exactly, that's the whole thing, isn't it? That's the wonderful thing about being a fan. If you have them, you have them. If you want them, you want them. If you don't, you don't, etc., etc. Derek Hart, yeah, you can vote for it anyway. Go ahead. Yeah, Rick Storm also saying, I don't care. I have all Doctor Who on Blu-ray, so I don't need to. And Mark Wright saying to us, Ncuti is already being retconned out of future streaming. Now, this is the other point. I had this chat with a friend of mine recently, well, just the other day there, when I was saying, this could actually be a great way for any new production team to jettison the Ncuti Gatwa era, because it's Disney as well. And they're not going to be allowed to show the Disney-produced episodes, obviously, anywhere else except Disney Plus. And when will Disney Plus actually take it all off? Because as we said earlier in the show, or as you guys said in the show earlier, they still haven't shown the fish thing. And there's no sign of the fish thing coming. You know,
I do reckon they'll use it as a tax write-off, which would probably mean that they can't. I don't know how their law works, but it might mean that they can't show it if they use it as a write-off. They'd probably get more value from it as a tax write-off, to be honest.
Possibly. Disney have done it several times over, haven't they? Which is just ridiculous. Why pay for millions and millions of pounds into a project, or dollars, sorry, into a project, and then write it off? And then put it in a bargain basement somewhere. What is the point? What are these creatives doing? What are they doing? Just do something watchable so that they can actually get it out there. It's absolute nonsense. Cool's Boys Backyard. Some might watch it for Matt Smith in America, who seems popular over there at the moment. Does he? Is he? Oh, is he really? That's interesting. I didn't know that.
He's
Thanks
doing
for that.
filmy bits and pieces, hasn't he? And I think he was in The Crown, wasn't he, for quite a while as Duke of Edinburgh? So I think The Crown's always been popular over there. So he's increased his profile, hasn't he?
Classic Who was on BritBox, says Rocking Terry Lee. And of course, we all know who owns BritBox. That's the reason. So why can't they put any new? This is very, very strange. I mean, I have to admit, we in Britain don't really know the ins and outs of all. I certainly don't. I shouldn't say for everybody else. But I don't know all these channels and all these streaming things you can get in America. I wouldn't necessarily want to. I'll probably get a headache. But we don't have it all here. There is no way. We've only just got HBO. That's only just launched here. And the only reason it launched here in the United Kingdom is because bloody Harry Potter, which they've ruined, is on the way in December, which they've absolutely ruined with Black Snape. So, you know, that's going to be a massive flop. I guarantee you, unfortunately, it's going to be a massive flop. It's going to be
started
terrible.
with such hope, didn't it?
Yeah, and they've commissioned Series 2, The Chamber of Secrets. Tells you, doesn't it? Oh, quick, get the second one in the can. You know, because we built all these beautiful sets, cost millions. Let's justify them quickly. AMC Plus is just a Temu Netflix by its content, says I Am Your Servant. Sheriff Braddock is saying AMC owns Shudder, the big horror streaming service. Never heard of that one either. They just cancelled their most popular show, The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs, for spurious reasons. That's upset many horror fans, including me. Oh, God. So, what is it with these people? I don't understand it. AMC is saying, oh, so they don't want, AMC from Bill Lowry don't want Gatwa, just like everyone else. Yeah. They're not going to get it, are they? And yeah, Rocking Terry Lee agreeing with what we just said. Thank you for that one, guys. Jess Corbin is saying, a big shout out, please, to my family stateside, to Kus Canada, not forgetting S Korea, Japan. Well, there you go. Thanks, Jess. Sheila B in the Devotions is saying that AMC have done a lot of quality shows. I've never heard of them, Sheila B. Never heard of them. I've heard of the cinema, as I said, but that's it. Reviews, Rants and Religions are saying, just stick with secondhand DVDs. That will be easier at this point.
They can't edit it if it's physical media. Said it all the time.
We do. You've got to get your physical medias. If you've got your VHSs and your Blu-ray, your DVDs, you've got to keep them, because that's the last time you're ever going to get Doctor Who, as it was when it was originally broadcast in the UK back in its day, because now they're even messing with it with AI. And I know I've upset certain people by actually saying it, but it's bloody true. So get on with it. Classic Who is already on other free or paid platforms, says the PVFS. Oh, look at this. I have a VPN on iPlayer, says Rocking Terry Lee. It's $12 a month. BBC are missing a trick.
It's about right for a VPN.
Missing a trick.
Yeah,
honestly.
they are.
Honestly, $12 a month that Terry Lee's paying for his VPN, he could pay directly to the BBC and have access to all that gorgeous stuff.
Yeah.
I don't get it. These people, they're insane. They're
absolutely insane. Won't do it until they have to, until they're forced.
I'd be very surprised if they haven't thought of it, Ian.
Oh, yeah.
They're not business people, these people. Honestly, they are not business people. They think they are, but they're not.
They're just,
their own industry.
It's easier for them to charge us, and it's easier for them to use the law to force us. Whilst they can do that, they're not, there's no pressure on them to do anything different.
BBC Studios is the commercial arm. It is there to make money. It's there. It drives me mad. We've got this part on this as well from the Den of Geek. Doctor Who's new streaming home raises fresh questions about the franchise's future. Dun, dun, dun. Let's get into this particular story. Doctor Who has a new streaming home, but not quite in the way that fans were likely expecting. AMC Plus has acquired the streaming rights to the popular sci-fi series and most of the show's reboot era, over 150 episodes from 2005 to 2022, will be available on the streamer from June the 11th. But this news will likely have surprisingly little impact, at least for the moment, on the franchise's larger future, a fact that is sure to frustrate those still desperate for any crumb of news about what's next for the beloved time-traveling space adventure. Can't spell traveling. But as for where the series goes from here, both literally and figuratively speaking, well, that remains as up in the air as ever it has. The acquisition represents a homecoming of sorts for the show, as BBC America, which is also part of the larger AMC Networks umbrella, was the US broadcast home for the series from 2009 to 2022. Roughly from the 11th through to the 13th Doctor eras, the first 4 seasons aired in America on the Sci-Fi Channel. As a result, this move will almost certainly kickstart speculation about whether some part of the AMC brand is now in the running to take over as production or distribution partner for the flagship series moving forward. Is the streamer just trying to boost its subscription library, soft launch a BBC America revival, or some secret third thing? Good questions. A Doctor Who Christmas special is slated to arrive later this year, but we still know very little about what that particular installment will look like. Will it feature Billie Piper, whose surprise cliffhanger appearance closed out season 15? Could David Tennant return? How will it lead into the next era of the show? Or will it just skip past this rather historic mess to the introduction of a new Doctor entirely? And what are forthcoming seasons? The BBC has been rather vocal about its support for the franchise moving forward, but with no current Doctor and no announced plans for future seasons, will RTD remain the showrunner? Could Teague, McTighe, however you want to say it, take over? Everything feels stuck in a bizarre and deeply frustrating limbo. I'm not frustrated. While the holiday installment, let me just rephrase that and become British. While the Christmas installment will almost certainly broadcast on the BBC in the United Kingdom, the bust-up of the Disney partnership means that the show doesn't yet have a distribution partner elsewhere, which could leave global audiences scrambling to find a way to view the festive special, the Christmas special, if something isn't worked out by the holidays, by Christmas. It seems unlikely that it would end up on AMC Plus, but stranger things have happened. Yes, it's a smaller brand than, say, HBO or Netflix, but given that the streamer is already home to some heavy hitters like Interview with the Vampire and the sprawling Walking Dead universe, it's more than proven its genre bona fide. Might it double down by acquiring the universe? Blech. Is that even something fans should be hoping for? Your guess is as good as ours. Well, we've got the fans here with us in the chat now, over 240 of you. So let us know, do you think this AMC Plus thing, after what we've just read there, is a natural streaming home for Doctor Who? But again, Ian, I was just so bemused by how many people just are how many fans seem to be so desperate to having news of Doctor Who that when this story broke, they immediately thought, yes, the new series is coming and all the naysayers are wrong and you lot are wrong. It's on the way. The deal is done. No, it's not. Calm down and read the article. And for those of you at the back who are very, very slow with this, I'm going to say again, AMC Plus have the rights to screen from 2005 to 2022, the end of the Whittaker era only. They are not a production partner for a new series. They haven't said they're going to finance a new series. And BBC Studios still, at this time, are not in production with Doctor Who. The overreaction from a small amount of the fan base, led by the usual lot, I thought it was hilarious.
I think, JT, it's like what you've said many times before, and we're, unsurprisingly on the same page on this one. There are so many that are a little bit emotionally weak, who struggle to cope, or will struggle to cope, when the realization hits them that Doctor Who is gone and gone for a while.
It is concerning.
And they some of them will have meltdowns. They're showing examples already, but they will grab onto anything like a drowning person. They will drag onto anything that they think might save them or what they want in this case. So if they see something that they can interpret in a way that gives them hope, they will do. But it doesn't mean that they're right. It's quite sad in a way, and it's also quite pathetic in a way. But it's also not a surprise either, because we've known that this is what they would do. They're delusional. And they need to rapidly grow a spine, because they're going to struggle otherwise.
I think so. And I've said it before many times on the show, I am very, very concerned by a minority of alleged fans that will not be able to handle what we handled back in the day, which we called the wilderness years. Can you imagine them trying to get through 15 years of not having Doctor Who because they wouldn't be able to do what we did, which basically saying, oh, well, it'll come back someday. Oh, look, there's a pub. Oh, there's some life. Oh, I've got to get on a job. Oh, I'm going to have a family. Oh, whatever it was going to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In my case, oh, look, there's discos. Let's go. Funky for your super chat is saying this could damage any attempts to get a streaming service to make a new series. Any streamer would want all the back catalogue to go with it. We've said many times, haven't we, though, Funks, here on Who's Views, that's not how BBC Studios works. They know that the original Doctor Who will always, 1963 to 89, be far more profitable for them than anything churned out from 2005, because the 2005 onwards series now is dated. It doesn't even tell a proper story. Let's face it, let's be honest. And the more it goes on, the more it starts to actually preach. And then eventually, of course, getting in with all this DEI nonsense that we've talked about earlier in the show, which is dating it in itself, Ian. So BBC will always turn around saying you can have from 2005 onwards, but we're keeping that money-making element there.
Which, in a sense, is just admitting about the way that the latest version went. But there we go. I know you've pulled up Rick Storm there, but we've missed a super chat, JT, from a little bit back.
I'll have a look for it. Let's have a look.
It was from Mark Greaves. Mark Greaves.
Okay, I'll have a look for that. Let me go back. I've got this one from Rick saying the problem with partnering is that, as with Disney Who, it would just prevent other streaming services from showing all series as a whole, fragmenting anything going forward. Hello to Avon01. It is good to see you. Nice to see you. Welcome to Who's Views. John and Tom are the best Doctor Who's. Hurrah. I'll agree. Really having it on AMC, says Davey B, is for the American market, really, isn't it? Americans would rather watch 9 to 12, some like 13, that's fair enough, because they don't want to watch the Disney episodes. Again, it's going to be fans, though, isn't it? It's going to be fans that are there. And as you're all saying in the chat, if you're a fan, you've probably already got access to it via a Blu-ray or a DVD. So who's going to watch anything streaming? I don't understand that either. Let me see. I'm trying to find this super chat. Hold on one second for me, everybody. The problem we've got with StreamYard is that it doesn't stay at the same time as you guys.
It messes around quite a bit, doesn't it? I was leaving it to see if you got to it, but then the last one we've done was significantly afterwards. So you've got it. Lovely.
From Mark Greaves, JT, last year I told you I was in court for stopping a mugger attacking a lady. You did. Well, I want to share on the channel. We're having a baby girl. Ah,
that is fantastic.
That's happy news. Wow! Congratulations, Mark. That's lovely. That's absolutely lovely. Thank you very much.
We should have a competition for names.
Yeah, call her Who's Views.
Yeah.
That'll do. I think that's a good name.
Oh, her Tangent.
That's good news, though, and I remember that story as well. Thank you. Legion of James, can we not gift Jodie to Disney as well? 2 birds, 1 stone. This is my point, though, with Legion of James. In all honesty, what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say to all, and especially to the people that are always going to be getting at me as they do, oh, no, Jodie Whittaker's canon. Oh, the other one's canon. Oh, Gatwa's canon. Not in my world. No, they're not. It stops
in a canon.
Any production team in the future can actually just say, we want to retcon anything. Just like the 2005 production team did with the half-human thing from the Philip Seagal movie. They rejected that bit. They didn't keep that bit. You know, anything in Doctor Who can be retconned. Now, for me, this AMC deal can point to the fact very easily that Doctor Who now is in different chapters, as I've always said, and as fans seem to actually correspond to, right? So what's to stop any new production team coming in with any new production partner and being able to say, as we've reported here, yes, we're going to reboot it, Doctor One Day One, just happens to have the same name of the show, or this is Doctor 9, this is Doctor 8, or just the Doctor, and you put it in any way, which is what I would do. I would say, this is just the Doctor. You fit him into wherever you want him to. But I think it's an interesting conversation for us as fans, because I do think it means that anything can happen now, because you've got the BBC, who will always own 63 to 89. The BBC will also own 2005 to 2022, and that can go anywhere they want to. The BBC, who part owns 23 to 25 with Disney, who pay for most of it, let's face it, and they can't do anything with that because it has to be on Disney. And Disney is not going to allow anything they've put a load of money in at this time to be shown on one of their competitors.
That'll probably sting RTD, and he absolutely deserves it because he made it shit.
I've got no sympathy for them. This is why, you know, it's a very dodgy world for Doctor Who right now, because I don't see how Doctor Who should be made by the BBC, but they're so intent, Ian, on getting more millions put into it or finding a streaming partner for it. I just think the whole thing's a mess. And I
think they've lost. I think the BBC, as it's followed certain ideologies, significantly closer following them than they should have done ever, if they should have followed them at all. They've actually lost the ability to make decent drama. I think we know they did the Wallace and Gromit thing. Well, the BBC didn't make that, did they? Aardman made that, but you know, they showed it. They made Gavin and Stacey, which was a big hit for them, but it was a comedy. I don't think they know how to make decent drama anymore. I think they've lost the ability. So why do they need so much money? What are they doing with it? If they're not making TV programs, why do they need so much money? Why do they send? I mean, the World Cup's coming up this year with football. I know football's a dirty word, JT, but you know, great. You know, and I won't go into too much detail. Great win for Leeds today, but the World Cup's coming this summer in America and everything. And
in America,
yeah, other nations. I think it's split between America and Canada, and other nations will send a handful of TV people to cover it. The BBC will send the most by far, hundreds, like they do with the Olympics. They will send hundreds because they just have more money than sense, you know, and they shouldn't be doing this. They should be living within their means, but they don't, because we're forced to pay for them. It's ridiculous.
Space Peninsula is saying to us in the chat, how many bloody times can you revive a show? Doctor Who should have a do not resuscitate order at this particular point. It might actually have that. It might actually have that. We've got Sheriff Brackett saying, how did the showrunner become more noteworthy and necessary than the Doctor, the actual on-screen character that we've watched for 60 plus years? It's because they've all had an ego. In fact, the only thing I am aware of as well, and I'll give him his due, is that Chris Chibnall didn't appear like the other two did on practically everything going. You know, and kept himself to himself. Didn't he even stop his page in Doctor Who magazine or something?
I think he might have done, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Kirsty's reminding you all to please like the hit button and subscribe to the channel. Yes, please. Thanks for that, Kirst. What else we got in the chat? Let's go and see you. Nice to see you all. I will only watch Classic Who, says Avon01. I'm like that at the moment. We've actually got in June a Modern Who episode to review coming up. As we move forward with our celebrating 60 years of the Cybermen, and I'm not looking forward to it because I don't retain the information. I might surprise myself, but it's all coming up. So please join us for our reviews. Cool's Boys Backyard saying there's no money, no script, no Doctor with 6 months to go. It's impossible. Mischief is saying we've been through it once before. The books and tapes and comics were awesome. Yeah, the Wilderness Years. We're doing a series, Mischief, if you don't know, here on the channel, where we are celebrating the Wilderness Years, the original Wilderness Years, where we've done 3 episodes so far. We've got lots more stretching into next year coming. We've got lots more coming about this as we celebrate those Wilderness Years. And also the part of that is us trying to say to people, whoever wants to join us, don't worry about another one. It won't be as big, it won't be as grand, it won't be as exciting, it won't be as creative, it won't be as productive next time around because it's got rid of a whole load of fans, but there will still be something. That's what we're trying to say. Dystopian is saying to us, would probably be better to separate the classic rebooted versions of Who. It looks like that's what they're doing, isn't it? And Dirty Davros saying to us, at best, AMC is testing the waters to see what kind of viewership numbers these can get. It's a good showing. They may consider new episodes. That's what a lot of people were saying this week. That's what a lot of people were saying this week, that it could be a testing bed. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
I think the BBC want people that can put tens of millions into it. Probably not at the scale of Disney, but similar to that amount of commitment. And I don't think AMC Plus sound like they're going to be the party that can do that.
I don't think so personally either. I don't think so.
I agree with what you said, that the one mistake that I will attribute to Philip Hinchcliffe and Robert Holmes, two absolute goddamn giants as far as Doctor Who's concerned. The one mistake they made was saying Time Lords are limited to blah blah regenerations, because that started.
They didn't know it was going to carry on through the 70s, did they? You know, it was a nice element at the time for the story to say you've got a limited time life. But it's science fiction. Somebody somewhere was always going to come up with some way of giving the Doctor extra lives if it was still on air.
Yeah, but then I do think
then it fell to Moffat who got it wrong.
Yeah, if Doctor Who comes back in a rebooted format, I do think, personally, everything 2005 onwards, it's toxic now. You know where it all ends up, so it's toxic. Sorry, Matt Smith. Sorry, Capaldi. Not sorry, Tennant, but it's toxic. So, let it be a carry-on, but without reference to the past. Just let it carry on, but don't number the Doctors anymore. Don't say this is Doctor 9, 10 or anything. Just have it the Doctor, and when they change, but make it a male and don't make it sexualized.
That's one of the reasons.
25-minute episodes as well.
This is the reason why I don't think Doctor Who should be coming back anytime soon, because the industry itself can't even tell what a woman is. So I think it needs a good long rest. Rest. You've Robert Payne is saying, I've never afforded the whole set of original Doctor Who on disc, so I'm glad of the iPlayer. Yeah, that's great. If you've got that there. Just to point out as well that you can actually get a load of Doctor Who DVDs from the original series now in charity shops up and down the United Kingdom. Also, I saw something, sales on Amazon and HMV. You can get them for £3 or £4 now as well. I mean, it's sad days, but that's because the DVD's gone down as well, isn't it? Even iPlayer doesn't have all the 63 to 89 episodes available on it. Says Funky. I thought they did. I thought that was the whole part of the big marketing strategy. That
they have the unearthly child problem, don't they?
Oh well, that's something else. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's something different. Yeah. No, fair enough. If that's what you mean, fair enough. That's that's going to cause problems for the Blu-rays. Lots of you giving names there for are on the way Who viewer. So that's good. That's good to say. Hi, Kevin Taylor. How are you? I gather that Ncuti got the lowest viewing figures for Saturday Night Live, even worse than his Doctor Who figures. Yep, we talked about it right at the top of the show, mate. All there for you. You can go back and have a look at that because I know you've just joined us. But yes. What else? Real Geriatric is saying to us, retcon the whole show by pushing everything from the TV movie on into an alternative timeline and continue from the Professor and Survival. Producers can do what they want and they can look at Doctor Who now. I've always said that the new Doctor Who from 2005, which is not new anymore because it's 20 odd years old, has more baggage than the original 26-year run. And if I was a producer coming in to look at Doctor Who, that's what would put me off. And I would say to the BBC, fine, but I'm not referring to that era because it's bogged down. The Time War, Bad Wolf, Rose and the ongoing story, David Tennant's Doctor, blah, 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 female version, another version, the Timeless Time Lords or whatever it was called. The Cybermen thing we talked about, becoming Time Lords, I still don't understand that. Whatever it's going to be, the nonsense, the baggage that's coming. The Ncuti Gatwa's high dancing, prancing ninny, his version. Unpopular feedback from the public, no audience, being telling your fan base to bugger off. They didn't think about the future there. The majority of it is not going to be welcoming any new version of the show because it told us to go and touch grass. It told us we were misogynistic and phobic and ots and its and far right. We're not there for any new reboot. So what's the point in putting millions and millions of dollars probably into a new series of Doctor Who when your audience has been told, there's the door. We want this mythical new audience, which doesn't exist, as is proved continually, and to which the BBC still to this day insists is there. It's not there. Absolute nonsense and stupidity. Stephen O'Neill is saying to us that here in the UK, the Eden Channel have stopped showing classic Pertwee and Baker stories. I noticed that the other day. I love watching the episodes on a Wednesday tea time. It was the highlight of the week. I know. I wonder what's happened there. I wonder what's happened there. It's probably something to do with the BBC, honestly.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
It'll be in their own channel as well. And curious case, my Canon stops at Capaldi, is halfway through regenerating. I turned it off and have never watched further, and I never will. Same as me, curious case. We're in the same boat there, aren't we, mate? So come stand by me. Thank you, everybody. Lots of names, Howard. Rocking Terry Lee also saying to us, needs to be rested for a couple of years, then a reboot. I think it might have to. With Britain being the way Britain is right now, Terry Lee, I think it needs to be more than a couple of years. I think it needs to be a bit longer, and certainly for the alleged entertainment industry to get over the shock.
We need certain governments out the way, and we need certain sea changes at the BBC first. Otherwise, it will just be more of the same dross.
And BBC Studios, the production,
the whole damn lot.
Yeah.
Or tear it all down, and we've said it before again, haven't we? Tear it all down and auction off their properties.
They'll never do that. I've said that before. There's no way the BBC are going to let Doctor Who go, ever. Never.
But if the BBC is disbanded, if the BBC no longer exists...
This is BBC Studios.
Yeah.
Doctor Who is a BBC Studios project. It's nothing to do with the BBC. The BBC have Doctor Who now. It's one of the reasons it was pushed over to the BBC, because they have done several things over the last 10, 15 years, which seem to me thinking they're preparing for the end. And Doctor Who and Blue Peter, of course, are now independent. So with the last two great mainstays of the old BBC, so with BBC Studios, they are a commercial arm. If the BBC goes down tomorrow, a subscription service where it doesn't affect BBC Studios at all.
Yeah.
Don't forget, we've always got to remember two different things. BBC over there, BBC Studios quite literally down the road. 15, 20-minute walk. It's literally down the road. I've sat on those stairs many, many times going in for interviews. Nice work on the Philip Seagull episode, fellas. I've just caught up on that, says Idiot Proof Dalek. Well, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Glad you enjoyed it. It was an absolute joy to have him here.
It was great, wasn't it?
It
really was.
Absolutely right. Dalek Shalom is saying the Daleks were right. I'm just saying. Let's have a look at the poll then, everybody. The poll for this week's show was, will you be buying AMC in order to watch the 2005 to 2020 Doctor Who? Wow. A lot of you actually took part in this particular poll. I can tell you that 100% of you voted no. We've currently got we've currently got over 230 people watching us now as we get into this stage of the show, and 100% of you who were in the chat and voted said no, you wouldn't. So there's a big message for BBC Studios, and also a big message to AMC Plus in America. It's not going to possibly go the way you think it's going to go, according to our poll. There will be other people out there, of course. I'm going to stop the poll now, everybody. Thank you. There will be other people out there, of course, as they have done with these things that we do just for fun, just to involve you in the chat with more of the show. It's not indicative. It's not proper. It's not proper. Oh, no, it's all wrong. Oh, bugger off. It's just for fun. But it is an indication, isn't it? It is an indication, everybody, as to how you're thinking out there. Darren's only saying, I'm too late for the poll, but it's a no from me as well. Close result in the poll this week, says Julianne, wasn't it? Phew. Stand by your bedtime, that one. Funky is also saying such a close race.
Almost 50-50. No.
Almost 50-50 on that, yeah. But anyway, that was something. It's been an interesting week. I'm going to say it to a certain minority of fandom who are so desperate right now. So sad. They are desperate for news of the Christmas episode or a brand new series, I feel very sorry for them in a sense, because it's not coming. And they've been like this since September, October, whenever the BBC stupidly committed to a Christmas 2026 episode. That they should never have done that. They should never have done that. See, they just said they should have just come up with the usual. Well, we're going to look at it. Something diplomatic and non-committal. But somebody somewhere said, oh no, there's going to be an RTD penned Christmas episode for 2026. And then the tide has turned against RTD as well. And by God, they are aware of it. You can trust me on this. There's a quote. They are aware of it. And yet they will all deny it. Look at the plaudits he's getting and look at the support he's getting for this TQ cult crap coming onto Channel 4 very soon. Which they've now started to big up with incredibly ridiculous trailers, which are just so exactly what the episodes are going to be. Angry. I think they've put themselves into an early grave, actually, Ian. I don't think they're going to get out of this. I think they are committed to it. They're going to have to do something for Christmas, but they have to be watching the clock.
The longer it gets, or the later it gets in the year, I've got to agree with comments that some people have said that could it be a clip show? Could it be somewhere where, I don't know, I'm just making it up like a lot of channels have, but could it be that he just scripts where some Time Lords or something grab the Doctor and look through previous episodes and say, oh, isn't it a bad person? Let's send them on exile again and close the story. So it's kind of like a natural end. I don't know. Because it's not, the exile's already been done, hasn't it? 1969 to 1973. So naturally, it would be something that RTD would copy, because God forbid it's an original idea.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
Exactly. I've got something to make you really, really upset now very quickly here, Who viewers. Thank you for staying with us here on your big show this Sunday. It's his headlines. And this is possibly something that you might just cry over in a Ncuti Gatwa style. From slashfilm.com this week, before Project Hail Mary, Andy Weir wrote fan fiction for a long-running sci-fi series. I'll give you one guess as to which sci-fi series that was. Author Andy Weir, the writer of the hit novels The Martian and Project Hail Mary, is a Whovian. I mean, it seems logical. The writer's good humor, intellect, and clear passion for the scientific realities embedded in the sci-fi genre suggest he would also be a fan of the long-running British series Doctor Who. He was either going to be a Whovian, a Trekkie, or both. All the best nerds are either Whovians or Trekkies, two terms I actually really do hate. Andy Weir talked about his Doctor Who obsession a year ago on the video podcast The Night In, and he pointed out the TARDIS he keeps in his office. He is not shy about his love of Doctor Who and even wrote fan fiction about it. A brief bit of editorializing, Doctor Who, along with Star Trek, might be responsible for introducing the soap opera notion of TV canon to the sci-fi world. There's no doubt about it. Thanks to these two shows, it could be considered that fantastical technology rules established in one episode would remain embedded into the next. Yeah, I mean, that's a good idea. I think that's true. It goes on here to say, into the Internet video, Weir pointed out that he had a TARDIS in his office and declared that he had seen every episode of Doctor Who ever made, except for the ones the BBC had lost. It's well known that the BBC lost many, many episodes of Doctor Who back in the day. Sometimes they are discovered. Andy Weir knew all of this and went on a tear. He explained every now and then they'll recover one. Recently, one of the serials was recovered because an Algerian TV station happened to have a copy. It'll be like that. When asked whether he'd ever written for Doctor Who, Weir had to admit he hadn't in any official capacity, but he had penned some fanfic. As he put it, I've never written for anything officially for Doctor Who, but I've written fan fiction. Does that count? No. And I have hassled Chris Chibnall. I've said, hey, I want to write for Doctor Who. I'll do it for free, or I'll do it for £1. And he hasn't let me yet. Andy Weir was serious, by the way. He knows he's American and that Doctor Who is a British TV series, but he still feels he could be a good writer for it. He said, to my British fans, I know America lets you down when it comes to Doctor Who. In 1996, we made a really crappy TV movie out of it. And I know you're reluctant to let Americans at Doctor Who again, but please trust me, I have all of the canon. I have the total respect. I could make some good Doctor Who. I could make some good Who. So write to your MP and start a campaign. Weir for who? That's not going to do anything, to be quite honest, because they don't care. But this was obviously Andy Weir, who's just had a major hit with the fantastic film Project Hail Mary, which I loved. This is obviously before these idiots came in and wrote Rouge.
Yeah.
Therefore breaking the rule that the BBC had for many years of only British writers for British television shows, because of this little thing we had about a union agreement and all this sort of stuff, the Writers Guild and all this. It was just something I wanted to throw in there for you. It's just typical, isn't it, everybody? You might remember this story, but Andy Weir, who has just had a major successful science fiction film, was turned down for Doctor Who.
Of course he was. I mean, that shows you the quality of their selection process right there, doesn't it? But
and yet, the two women that wrote for a flop of a series is
yeah. I wonder if his love of Doctor Who is why that prop from Power of the Daleks turned up in one scene.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Maybe if you saw it on a list of if you saw it on a list of props and things and thought it might be quite cool, really. But it's a shame, isn't it? It's a shame. But then we're not surprised, are we?
No, not really. No, I just thought it was funny actually that came to light this week as well when all this is going on. Again, shaming in a sense the BBC, because they are just ridiculous, aren't they? Lots of you in the chat. Thank you for this. Kevin Taylor is saying to us, is the BBC News produced by an independent company? Sort of. It's called BBC News. It's not fully independent yet. It is still part of it, but it is BBC News. It's not like BBC Studios, put it that way, which is a major multi-million-pound earning and important business. BBC News, nowhere near that. Jake Cosplays, hello to you. I think Doctor Who should go. I think Doctor Who should go back to I don't know, science fiction and not political sci-fi. Also go to atheist thought processing, not be associated with this next Doctor realizing the human holiday of Christmas. The whole point of that is it's a very British thing to do. The reason we have the Doctor Who Christmas specials is because the BBC ordered a Doctor Who Christmas special, and RTD actually, rightly, in my opinion, decided to set it at Christmas because that's when it was going to be watched. I actually agree with that, but I think it got tired. I do think it got tired. Yeah, however, now I think it's fresh again, and I think they should set it at Christmas again and have all the glitter in the ponds and stuff, but you can't continue doing it every single year. You can't have, in the narrative of Doctor Who, the Doctor turning up on December the 25th every single year for a story. I think the Christmas invasion worked to an extent because of it. I don't know. I think you have to be careful. I think if it was to continue, it was to go every single year, which it doesn't like it's going to. I think every 3 or 4 years, you'd have an episode set back at Christmas on Earth.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Not every year, not every single year. It gets a bit tiring. Oh, yes, great. Thank you very much, everybody, for that. I hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. We've had a lot talking with us, lots of chat there. I just wanted to finish off with that, what I thought was funny element. Andy Weir wasn't allowed to write for Doctor Who, everybody. I'm just reminding you about that and telling you about it if you didn't know about it. Ian, thank you for joining me tonight for the big show tonight. Great to see you.
No, I've enjoyed it. Thank you very much. It's always good fun, and tonight has been no exception. An absolute blast. Loads of people in the chat. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you.
Lots coming up for you on the channel. Tomorrow we'll be back live at 8 o'clock with another in our 8 at 30 series, where we are going to be reviewing the 8th Doctor comic strip, Endgame, from Doctor Who magazine, which introduced the 8th Doctor into the long-running comic strip and pits his wits against the Celestial Toymaker. So a bit of fun for you there on the channel tomorrow. On Wednesday, live at 8 o'clock, we're heading back to 1985 as we continue our Cybermen at 60 celebration with a look at Colin Baker's Attack of the Cybermen. Always good. And you never know, we might have a couple of other treats coming up for you this week as well. Make sure you're subscribed, everybody. If you've already subscribed to the channel, please make sure you are still subscribed and keep checking, because I don't think the Tube of Who know what the hell is going on, because I certainly do. The algorithms are all over the shop. From Ian and myself, great to see you all. We'll see you through the week. Don't forget, the big show will be back for you next Sunday as well. God willing, live at 8 o'clock. headlines every Sunday. Sunday wouldn't be Sunday without your headlines.
No.
From Ian, from myself, don't forget, when they drop a headline, we'll be here to talk about it. Until we see you again on Whose Views, take care of yourself, everyone. Ta-ra.